Well, hello. Is anybody there? No? Okay. Very well. No problem. We'll keep on waiting for your crazy uncle who's about to get here and join me to talk about RPGs. If you hear some really bad music in the background, pay no mind. It's my son, and he has terrible taste in music, as you can hear it. Okay, so still waiting for you, Uncle. Still waiting for you, man. So he's going to tell us a little bit about his experiences playing RPGs when he was young, back when the Flintstones still were around.
What up?
Hello, we're live.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna make sure my camera's off.
Okay, do you can doesn't matter, man. So you can hear me
Yes.
very well.
Actually, though, I need to switch a couple things up. Give me a second. We live?
Okay, we're live.
Oh, damn.
Nobody's watching. Never mind.
Oh, I mean, I was getting ready to say, it's like, man, I feel like somebody caught me peeing in the field, you know?
Oh,
It's a joke, man. Oh, give me 1 second. Hold on. I just got to turn my control panel around.
yeah,
I
no
normally have
problem.
everything. I normally have all my stuff hooked up. I do my stuff through my TV. But when I do live streams, I have to do it through my computer.
No problem. No problem.
Dude, it is so good to finally be talking to you, man. I,
Same here,
I,
man. Same here.
you ever watched? Okay, have you ever watched the Boondocks?
No, I didn't.
Dude, you need to, because every season, like, they rallied against modern technology, and one of the things was texting, and it was like it was inward technology, and you got to realize the two characters that it was Samuel L. Jackson and Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother,
Yeah,
that were voicing two wiggers, white people think they're
yeah,
black, which is awesome. But they'd always rally against like modern technology, and one of the things was texting. They called it, I don't want to, get it inward technology. And Samuel L. Jackson's character says, like, "No, no, man, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just using this as a general term for ignorant motherfucker. Because why are you going to sit there and type something out in 15 minutes when you could say it in 15 seconds?" Plus, it involves typing with your thumbs, which I don't agree with.
yeah, yeah. That's partially true, you know.
Well,
But
the
there's times when you can't speak, so texting can be useful too.
yeah, but it's the thing about with even with language, even with the language barrier. A lot of times when you say, because a lot of times, man, I'll say something even with you, which I respect you, and I know you know where I'm coming from. But I'll sit there and say stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, God, I hope this motherfucker knows I'm joking. Oh my God, context. I mean, Seriously, man, that's how sad
Dude,
everything's gotten these
I
days,
have
man.
so thick a skin, you know.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons we get along so well because we just kind of,
I
I don't
even
get.
stuff that I don't find funny or that I think is with ill intent, you know. I stopped giving people the power to hurt me a long time ago.
Well, that's kind of the whole thing. Is like I was raised. My grandfather. I was raised by my grandparents, my mom's parents,
Yeah.
and they were. My grandfather was a World War II and Korean War vet, and dude, he never talked about the war. When I found out why he never did after he died, but he never did. But that was the whole thing. It's like I'd come home from school and some dumb motherfucker on the playground would say something to me, and he's like, "They're just words, Jason. They're just words. Just let it go." And that's
Yeah.
how I was raised, and that's to me that's the most tragic thing I'm seeing now. It's we're totally ruining language.
Now it's not let go. Now it's hold it to your heart and let it become you.
Yeah, you become a victim.
Yeah.
You're not a person anymore. You're just a victim,
Yes.
and it's the thing is the quote unquote powers that be. I think we are looking into when we look at politics, we're looking at totally wrong. The people that really control everything want us divided, like what we're doing now, where there be Comicsgate, what's going on in RPGs, Gamergate. It's using things that should bring us together. One of the things we want to talk about on this video
That
was
used to bring us together, you know?
exactly. And see, like football, man, I love football, like American football. The NFL.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I'm not lying about this. Last year was the whole protest thing came out.
Yeah.
And when it started, and, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. We won the Super Bowl. And when
Yes.
this started, I said, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. The one year everybody fucking hates the NFL because of some stupid shit, my team is going to win the NFL, win the Super Bowl. And guess what? Yeah, I was right. It's tragic. But I mean,
Yeah. Do you mind if we invite someone else?
no, man. It's dude. Man. This is your stream. I trust you, brother. Give me a second. I need to go find my vape pen real quick. I'll be right back. All right.
Yeah, don't no problem. No problem. Let me see. Yes, it's you. So I have you right here. And by clicking in this link I'm sending to you on the Twitter, man. That's how you get inside the stream. Okay, that's it. So you click in that and you can jump in. Sweet cheeks.
All right. No. Yeah.
Sweet cheeks. You didn't get it.
Huh?
You didn't get it, what I said.
No, I just got back, dude. Sorry.
Sweet cheeks.
Dude, that sounds very Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, kind of. So you were saying that they want us divided.
No, they do. That's what frustrates me. All right, man. Honestly, like, okay, you want to. I know this is an RPG stream, but I have to kind of explain my position because it's
Yeah,
very interesting. I
yeah,
was
please.
very leftist. Like the 2008 financial crisis was always something that it frustrated me. I hate finance. I'm horrible with numbers. My dad teaches calculus to high school kids,
Yes.
and I cannot stand math. But the 2008 financial crisis fascinated me, and I spent about 2 years studying it. And like, I hate Bernie Sanders now, but back then he was one of the only people in Washington saying, "Hey guys, this is fucking fraud here. There's something going wrong."
Yeah.
I was very leftist, in my views. But then when this election came, and it's like they cheated Bernie out of the fucking nomination.
Yeah, and then he
Bernie,
called himself.
honestly, if you talk to most intelligent Trump supporters, no joke, they would tell you if the Democrats would Bernie Sanders, he would have won.
Yes. Yes, I think so too. Yes.
And that's
Even if I was against his ideas from the beginning, from the get-go.
well, see, that's the thing is, when Bernie got nominated, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, he's a Democrat. You know, when I was, when I knew Bernie, he was Bernie the Independent. When he was bitching about the 2008, you know, because it was fraud, man.
Yeah.
The American government paid off big banks' fraud, which was started by Bill fucking Clinton. Dude, I've always hated Clinton. From, you know, I've hated Clinton.
They did the same thing here in Mexico many years before. It's called the Fobaproa. Check it out sometime. They did the same thing. The banks went bankrupt because they started loaning money to people that couldn't pay. Because the banks, and then when the crisis came, the government went and gave them our money to save the banks.
Dude, have you ever seen the movie The Big Short? It's they did a documentary on it, but it's the actual theatrical movie. It had Christian Bale, Steve Carell, who honestly needed to get a fucking Academy Award nomination for his role. Like, he was amazing in this movie. Christian Bale's always fucking awesome. That's one of my favorite actors. So, you know, I'm a big Christian Bale mark. But I read the book that was based off. It's by Michael Lewis. I read that book in one day. Like, I started it one afternoon and I just kept going.
Yes.
Until I finished it. But, you know, that to me, I always tell people that's the primer to what went on. What the other stuff that went on was even more insidious. But that's a good view. And my only issue with The Big Short was they mentioned Iceland. And Iceland was hit really bad by this financial crisis. But
yes.
You know what Iceland did different than anybody else? They changed the laws and imprisoned the people that did this.
Yes.
You know, fuck, man. You know, that's my whole issue with what I see in modern politics today. Is they're pulling divide and conquer. And, you know, for me...
Well, it's always wise like that. Always.
But it's gotten worse. And my thing is...
It's gotten divide and conquer, not by ideas, by race, by sex, by gender, by sexual orientation.
It's feelings.
That's not right.
But the whole thing comes down to the umbrella of feelings. You know, it's, you know, somebody the other day was like posted something on Twitter. It was like, you know, this is what happens when you give kids participation trophies. And it's funny, but it's correct.
Yes, it's true.
Because, you know, I was raised like, you know, you're rewarded by hard work.
It's what happens when you start. Look, there's a point to be in the middle in some stuff, you know. You need to be tough with your kids, but you don't have to beat them up and break their arms. Okay?
No, you don't. Just
you need to be in the middle. Okay? Some discipline, but not violence. Okay? Man. But we went to do not touch, do not nag, do not punish in any way. What? Come on, fucker. What do you think they thought they were going to get?
Well, they knew what they were going to get. That's the problem.
No. I mean the normal people. Not the assholes selling bullcrap. Those I know. No. The normal people. What were they thinking?
It goes. It's a society thing. I study history. Like, you know, my big kick is I study ancient history. You know, civilization. Fuck ancient aliens. Civilization is older. That answers all your questions.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. I mean, honestly, like, one of the things that got me into it, well, the two things. One of them was, and I'm not joking, was Raiders of the Lost Ark. the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, one of my favorite writers is a guy named nonfiction writers. He is my favorite nonfiction writer, like historical, is a guy named Graham Hancock. Fingerprints of the Gods. He was part of this whole 2012 thing, which I know a lot of people hate on because nothing instantly happened, but we don't understand the procession of time and how maybe it might be a signal of things to come. But but I like history. I think Atlantis is the Americas.
It could be.
Well, I mean, we got to understand.
Look, you have to understand something, okay? I am way too skeptic to believe anything without proof. I can see something and I can say, okay, it could be.
But you've been in Mexico. You live in Mexico, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're in Mexico. Have you ever seen the Olmec heads?
Yes, I know. The
Those are
Olmecas.
black, dude. The Olmec heads are black people, man.
No, that's
Honestly,
not true.
I do disagree with
That's
that.
not true. No, that's a lie.
I
That's
think
a
that
lie. Look,
but
look. If the Olmecas were blacks, the Spanish would have written about it, and they didn't. No, the Olmecas weren't black. That's a lie.
but I think it goes back older because
No.
this is something. No, this is something very interesting that a lot of people haven't seen.
You have to remember something. Right now, we can't trace your ancestry by DNA. Okay?
Yeah.
Very well. In Mexico, it's about 1% of the population that it's of African descent. Because to Mexico, they didn't brought any slaves. Because the Pope had forbidden slaves.
But I think the blacks were there before all that, though.
No.
I mean, okay. Do you know there's a guy? I think he's okay. I'm going to be mispronouncing his name. His name is Thor Heindel.
I know who he is. He's talking shit.
But he still sailed a boat that the Egyptians would have had across the Atlantic.
Okay, yes. He's great at some stuff. And he managed to get some
But you got to realize, I'm not trying to
stuff right, okay? But you have to get, for starters, the Egyptians weren't black.
No, they don't. No, it was brown people, man. No,
Just for starters.
That pisses me off about people that talk about the beginning of civilization. Let me say this: it wasn't white people, it wasn't black people, it was brown people.
No.
Civilization.
The Egyptians weren't European and weren't black either.
No, they were. It was the Middle East.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. Have you ever heard of Göbekli Tepe?
Yes.
Okay, 9,000 BC, carbon dated. Yeah. No issues with it. And one of the reasons is because the people, whoever built it, was using it at the time when something happened. I think it was the floods, because 25,000 BC it was the end of the Ice Age. And when I was in school, when people talked about the end of the Ice Age, I thought this was something that was like, millions of years ago.
No.
But yeah, exactly. Dude, trust me. I know the American education system sucks. My dad's a teacher. He'd tell you that shit.
Well, here, ours sucks too.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. But when I started to learn, it was 25,000 BC. Now, the oldest human remains closest to us. Now, again, just because these remains are older doesn't mean this is where civilization started. But at the same time, I find Ethiopia is one of the most fascinating countries on the fucking planet, dude. If you look at it, I think they do have the Ark of the Covenant, but I have a really weird view on that. I'm actually wanting to do a video on that sometime. But the Elmo 1 and 2, they were found in the Kibish province, or I forget, but they were found on the banks of the Elmo River. Maybe it's the Kibish province. I'd have to look it up. But basically, it's our ancestors, and something that is the closest to our anatomically human beings that we have now. They said about 200,000 years, give or take 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Carbon dating. So let's take the conservative estimate. Let's go ahead and fuck it, say 190,000 years. Look at human beings. Yes, technology changes human beings, but there are certain aspects of the human animal, the human creature that carries on.
Yes.
That's central. So you're going to sit there and tell me, okay, what we're taught now with history is civilization, or the cave paintings at Le Croix in France and all that, about 50,000 years, correct?
Yeah. Give or
So
take. Yes.
okay, so let's take almost age 190,000 years, and civilization started 50,000 years ago. So that's a 140,000 year blank
Well,
that we
it
have.
depends in what you call civilization, you know?
Well, that I'll get to that, but think about this. From when we first developed, and Omo 1 is us, and Omo 2 is a distant ancestor. Up the something lower down the evolutionary ladder. But 140,000 years, man. Seriously, look at human beings. Would we have really sat with our thumbs up our asses for 140,000 years before we try to do something great?
It's not about trying, it's about having the tools and the knowledge to do it.
But what gives you that tool is the knowledge. See, man, dude, I so want to. Hey, geeky.
Error and try and error and try and error and try.
I know we get words. No, hold on. Let me
listen to this. Listen to this, okay? In all ancient history, only two civilizations had the concept of the zero. Okay, the ancient Indians with a dot, not a feather. Indians from the India.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, dude. No, dude, I think that's some of the people.
And the Mayans. Okay, the only two people that had the zero. Now, why is it that? Well, because it's not an easy concept. But if you see all all cultures that started developing, started mapping the skies, had calendars, and knew when the seasons started, even if they were about to tell you that it was Thor. You know?
Dude.
Now, here's the thing. If you had certain advanced technology, like the asshole, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. You know his name? You know what's who he is?
What do you mean? Okay, hold on. What do you mean? Because I hate that, dude. Everything that Ancient Aliens says, if you just say a civilization's older, which gives us more time to learn these principles in order to correct. Because I mean, there's I'll send it to you in DMs, but there's a video called "Debunking Ancient Aliens." It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
I saw it,
dude. It's beautiful because that guy that made that, he said, "Look, man, these people are full of shit." But there's more questions. There's a legitimate question. Basically, he was saying, man, you should just set the clock back. That's my issue. If you set, that's why I think it's Atlantis. I'm not saying black folks made the Americas. I think there was trade between the two. It's just when the ice caps melted, man. That's what people don't realize. And this is going to be, I think you'll find this funny. When I was a strip club DJ, my manager used to make us pour ice in the urinals every morning to get the piss smell out.
Yeah, I know.
Before. All right, so I do that. I'm sitting there pissing at one of the urinals, and I hear this massive, ice, falling down. And this is when I've been studying, the melting the ice caps, the end of the ice age, the change of water levels and whatnot. And this is something else.
There were several floods
three
across the world at different points in time, and that's why you find flood meat everywhere.
All right,
it's not the same flood. It's several different floats
When we do,
Please.
okay, I know our stream tonight's going to be about role playing. I want to trade. You're going to do a stream on my channel about history, dude.
Okay.
You and me need to know. Trust me, man. Man, you're talking my language, bruh. You're
Okay.
talking my
Anytime.
language.
Anytime, my dude.
No, I'm not
Anytime.
kidding, man. This
No,
is
neither do I.
because I mean
Anytime.
I'm studied like my thing is ancient history and the Crusades. That's my thing. Crusades, just because I grew up as fits into our conversation nights. I grew up on D&D, knights and shit. I'm good
Yeah.
with that. But ancient history it started with Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was Graham Hancock's book, The Sign of the
Very
Seal.
well. So let's make a great segue into RPGs.
All right, let's
Okay.
do this.
All of the stuff we have talked, anybody can take as fact and use it to build a campaign.
Yes. Hey, like when I talked about liking the Crusades, they have a Dark Ages Cthulhu. I mean, come on, man, think about that. Templars and shit, throwing in some damn H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I wish I had one of my black girlfriends here where I'd be like, hey, baby, my favorite words be like, N-word, what? I mean, seriously. That's why I love the Lovecraft lore and putting it into one of my favorite historical. Actually, when it comes to something, ancient history is very amorphous. It changes, but the Crusades, we have enough written ideas about it that the Dark Ages that we can build a pretty decent picture of life then.
Yes, it's more close to us, so we know more about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the Dark Ages being like hating science and kind of like witchcraft and all that, and then you throw in some fucking Cthulhu.
Yes.
Because I like Cthulhu, man. I really like, I ran a.
Oh man, I'm working on something for you, my dude. Word. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Okay. I'm working on something for you in that regard.
But hey, I'm thinking about, man, sometime in something we might be able to live stream, man. I would like to run Cthulhu. It was not like I've tried to run it myself, and I've had like a few campaigns that were decent. It's a very difficult. It was like the original Vampire. The original first edition Vampire was a very difficult game to run. I was never really good. The two campaigns I ran, they were okay. They weren't.
It's great. Because many people look. I never played the Vampire because I wasn't into that. Okay, but yeah. I have read the system. It's a great system. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it's a great system. It's a great game, but it's not for everybody. Especially not as a what's it? It's not a GM or DM narrator.
Well, it goes back to having a good GM, and I grew up on AD&D.
Yeah.
When I learned AD&D, no joke, I was like 10 years old. It was my uncle's girlfriend, and I'm not kidding, dude. Okay, you think about role-playing games. This girl was fucking hot. Like, want to touch the hiney. Like, I was dude, you gotta think about this. I'm 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of getting to that point where girls are hot. Like, I had a crush on Princess Leia when I was growing up. Slave Leia costume from Return. Fuck, but dude, and I cannot remember her name. My uncle dated a girl named, I want to say it was Portia, but I believe Portia was the psychic girl that knew that there were ghosts living in my uncle's. A long story, but I can't remember her name. But this girl was so fucking hot, dude. But she knew her shit, and like one time she took us to go play with a guy who had run like major convention, adventures, like major D&D conventions. Yeah. And he killed us in 2 hours. Like we were dead. And we were pretty good. I mean, I'd say we were great.
Look, I would have loved to have an uncle or an aunt that was into the stuff I was into. You know,
Well,
only
actually,
only my uncle Felipe, and he only liked to read some of the stuff I like to read. As a matter of fact, he taught me because he had the books. He had Conan, the Conan novels, the first 12 Conan novels, the Ace books. He had them, and
Lovecraft was good friends with Robert E. Howard.
yes, as a matter of fact, there's some letters or interviews or something like that where Howard says that his Conan is in the same universe. His books are in the same universe as the Lovecraft stuff.
Is that what you're talking about, dude? Because I remember you were talking about some Conan shit. Because
Yeah.
that's very man. Because when you start talking about that, I never made that connection. I'm not joking.
No, yes,
It's
yes.
weird.
They said so. Okay, they said so. So Conan is very low magic, very low magic. But there's a book where it's the Phoenix in the Sword. If I don't, if I'm not mistaken, is the Phoenix in the Sword, where Mithras is it's a magic sword, okay, and it's used to kill an eldritch god or something like that. I don't remember. It's been many years since I read it, but it's something like that. And then after reading that, I read that interview where they were saying that Robert E. Howard was saying that it was the same universe, the Cthulhu and all the Conan and Cool and I the Puritan. I forgot the name. How can I forget the name? Fuck, getting all sucks.
Dude, trust me, I know, man. I
The other
totally know.
the other Conan character, the Puritan one.
Hold up. I'll be right back. I got to step out. I just got to jump off for just 1 second. Be
Yes,
right back.
yes, no problem. What was the name? They even what was the name? They even made a movie not so long ago.
Um,
Robert E. Howard, Puritan.
what are you talking about? I mean, you talk about the Conan movie with Jason
Solomon
Momoa.
Kane. Solomon Kane. It's the
Oh,
other.
dude, yeah, I remember that did not get like any distribution in the West. I mean, in
No,
America,
and it's a shame.
'cause that was a
It's a
good fucking
goddamn
movie.
shame. It's a good movie.
No, I remember seeing that. That's the same thing with like what is. There's another really kind of obscure because I like really kind of off horror movie. I love horror. It's just they don't do it really good anymore. Um, Outpost,
Oh yes,
where it was the Nazis, basically messing with the time space continuum, and it was like,
yeah.
dude, have you ever seen Iron Sky?
No,
You need to see Iron Sky. It's
no.
totally ridiculous and stupid, but it's one of the most amazing things you'll ever see.
Yes.
Yeah, no joke,
Very
man.
well.
It's dude, Hitler riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex that does a fucking Nazi salute.
Fuck, I have to see that.
I'm not joking, man. It's like my dad, who just turned 70 yesterday.
Yeah.
Like I called him at his birthday, to say, "Hey, Dad, guess what? They're making the sequel to Iron Sky is going to be out really soon." And my dad was like, "Cool." My dad loves that fucking movie.
I
But then
have to
again, I
see
remember
that.
one day, like back when I was growing up, we had
It's
the
Iron Sky or Iron Skies.
Iron Sky. It's Iron Sky. It's Iron Sky.
Okay, very well.
And I remember like when I was growing up, my dad one day sat me down. We had the cheated cable, And he was like, "You got to watch this movie. It was Big Trouble in Little China, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen."
Yeah.
But I'm a big John Carpenter mark. The Thing is my favorite horror movie of all time. I think it's, and to me, in my opinion, like me and my friend want to make movies. I'm gonna do well, there's nobody really watching, so it's cool. We're making a movie on Nashville hot
Oh,
chicken.
I saw that. It's Nazis in the Moon.
Huh? Yeah.
It's Nazis
Yeah.
in the Moon. Yes, I saw that movie,
Yeah, the sequel's gonna be
but I
out.
don't remember the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It was at the end of it. Like, because you remember there was like
Oh,
the Sarah Palin character
yes.
at the end of the movie. She comes out. That's like, because they're doing the whole Hollow Earth thing, and she's standing there. And Hitler rides up on a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he does the Heil Hitler, and then the Tyrannosaurus Rex does it.
Oh fuck, man! I don't remember that, but I have to see that
And so that's it. You
again.
know, that's this tragic thing. When this movie comes out, dude, you and I both know that some stupid shit's going to be said. That some stupid motherfuckers are going
Oh
to
come
sit
on!
there. And,
Yes, of course they are going to, unless of course now they do it PC. You know.
no, they're not going to do it PC, dude. That
I
I
hope not.
mean, the funny thing though is if you watch it, you know, like the main character was a black guy who was getting played like there was there was a lot of modern social justice themes in that movie. You know, Get Out, which originally I didn't want to watch because I felt like it was, you know, I'm
I didn't
sorry.
watch it, and I'm not planning to.
You know what though? I was wrong. See, but I still stand behind some of my previous statements. Was I don't like how when it came out, it seemed like to be trying to make money off the racial division in America. I
Yes.
think that's a bitch move. But if you watch the movie, which I had to, and I think Webb was one of the guys, you know, Vince was one of the people that told me about this, is he said that it shows how modern liberals are using black people as kind of like a human shield for their virtue.
Yes.
And
That's the point of the all the point of the not your shield.
yeah, I mean, that's my whole thing. It's crazy, you know. Talking to my dad about immigration, and my dad is like the coolest dude you meet, man. I fucking love my dad. He's crazy, but he's awesome. But like we were talking about immigration one day, and he's just like, my dad does not like Trump. He wasn't a big Hillary supporter. That was my uncle. My uncle that I grew up with that was cool. When I talk about like D&D, that's my mom's uncle. That's Mickey.
Yeah.
I have Uncle Marty. You notice how my voice changed when I talk about Uncle Marty.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody's going to see this, but I really don't care. Like we really don't like Uncle Marty that much. He's a dick. He tortured me when I was a kid. He was. But the thing about Marty was he'd always go off on fucking Trump. He hated him. But my dad is just like, he seemed like he was an idiot. But we were talking about immigration one day. He was like, is it too much to ask? Can we figure out who the fuck comes in our country? I'm cool. You want to come to America, be an American, and we try to make something good out of this? Fuck it, dude. I'm good. Let's roll. Dude, I
Yeah,
got you.
but if you don't know who's coming and going,
Well,
is
I
there
mean,
any is there any law really in your country anymore?
no, I mean, it's why I always tell everybody. It's funny. It blows their minds. Like, look at the Hyksos invasion. Hyksos. It was in Egypt, and basically, it's kind of like what we're. And I'm not saying that. Again, I know, man. No joke. One day at work, a Mexican said I was a hard worker. You know how big that it made my dick feel? I'm not joking, man. I could say, it's like South Park one time did an episode. It's one of my favorite episodes. It's the Death Camp of Intolerance, which I think every person in this world should
Should
be
see.
strapped into a chair,
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange, Alex style, for 24 hours. Everybody, unless you know what I mean. There was one thing in it was like the lazy Mexican, and I ain't lying, man. I never got that stereotype.
Well, there's a lot of those too.
But not in America, man. Not what I've seen.
That's the thing. Look, the people that go there even the illegal ones. Okay, I'm not talking shit about anybody. If I have something bad to say about illegals, it's that they go as illegals, nothing else. Okay, but the people that go to work there, especially those who risk life and limb to go there, are the people that want to work but here are dying because our government doesn't give a shit about our people, you know, and so they don't want to close the border because it's a steam valve.
No, I was
Okay.
getting ready to say, no, I shit you not, dude. I was getting ready to say it's a release valve. Because, I
Yes.
mean, it goes back to, oh, we need these people in here. But what when we're letting these best and brightest from these countries come in, how is that helping this country? You're damning everybody else.
The
It,
only people that benefit are our governments and the big corporations that can push the salaries down
and
because
exploit
there's
people.
exactly
And
exactly.
that's what kills me is like I got this
Do
guy.
you know how illegals live there? 15 to a room,
Oh, I know. Oh, trust me, I know.
and they eat rice and beans every single day to save money to send here. Of
And
course,
man, that's
my government loves them. Of course, millions of dollars comes to Mexico
and
that
that's
way.
the tragic thing. Like, okay, my job sucks, man. It's gotten bad. But one of the things it was is one of the guys I had, Raul. He was from, I believe, Honduras,
Yeah.
and Raul was, man, that was my dude. We talked about movies. He liked the same kind of like old school music I did, and man, he was so cool, man. That was my dude. We had to let him go because of some fucking gay ass green card issues.
Fuck.
And this is a guy who's been here. I will tell you right now, I know he hasn't had any legal issues. This is the person I want to be a citizen. You remember? I think I was talking to you this was a few months back, but the Razor Fist video about the wall,
Yeah.
and he talked about that girl that he knew that figured out, turned 18, figured out she was illegal, went to apply to become a citizen, and a decade later she became a citizen.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that okay, when you talk about these chain babies or kids that are caught in the middle, the kids that realize they are illegal and want to try to do something properly, yes, I believe that we should help them out. I mean, at this point, especially, and this is what kind of
Yes. Yes. But here's the thing: you could even talk about giving amnesty to all the illegals in your country, but first you have to close the border.
but no, but you know what's funny? 86. I forget the name of the law, man. I forget the name of the law, but in 86, Reagan faced this shit. And
No.
this was about the migrant workers that worked in California picking fruit. This was only like a million something people, maybe 2 million, but people
They
were up in
didn't
arms.
fix shit. They fucked
But
them over.
I know,
Really,
but
they
that's
fucked them over. My government stole all their money.
dude. Reagan didn't help. That's the thing is like, okay, when you look at the two demagogues of the left and the right, you have Reagan and you have Clinton, and I hate them both fucking equally. I'm sorry, Ray. The Grace. Okay, I tell you to watch the Boondocks.
I'm
Final
gonna.
episode
I'm
of
going
season.
to.
Final episode of season 1. It's when Uncle Ruckus, who's a black guy who hates being black, he claims he's mostly white, and he just got vitiligo, which is the opposite of what Michael Jackson supposedly had, where instead of getting white, he gets blacker. Yeah, but he goes to White Heaven, which is run by Ronald Reagan. I mean, it's dude. That's the thing is, okay. What I hate about the modern world right now is the death of comedy. I love Blazing Saddles. It was
Look.
something I was raised
Oh,
on.
come on, man. Yes, great movie. Here's the thing, okay? Assholes in your country, gringos, fucking gringos. Not every American is a gringo, okay?
Bazoo. No, it's Bazoo. I love the Bazoo thing.
Yeah, the biso, okay? Gringos, bisos, the same thing, okay? Fucking gringos are people that are not good people. Okay? The rest are Americans. The others are gringos. Now, fucking assholes in your country started making petitions to ban Speedy Gonzalez.
What?
Yes, and dude, I loved that cartoon when I was a kid.
Are
And
you
people in
fucking?
your country
How did I miss
made
this,
petitions,
dude?
and so there's no more Speedy Gonzalez. And this is for many years now. Okay, it wasn't Mexicans; it was assholes in your country.
You're so blowing my mind now, man. You're
Okay,
so blowing my
it
mind.
wasn't Mexicans; it was assholes in your country, and they do it over and over again. They don't talk for me. That's the stuff. They don't
Well,
talk
that's the
for
thing
me.
is, they don't talk for most Hispanic folks, man. They
No,
don't,
no, they don't.
and it's all about using people as a human shield to make you look
It
better.
was a cartoon where the gringo, the cat, was a stupid motherfucker. Tell me it's not true.
No, again, okay. Two of my favorite things: comedies, offensive comedies, Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I hate to say? This probably Ghostbusters. You could probably throw in there, which is tragic, but you know I'm right.
Yes.
But Blazing Saddles, Ghostbusters, the Boondocks. Blazing Saddles, just because it's Blazing Saddles, Ghostbusters is amazing, but the Boondocks, and this is why I always
Yeah.
like this.
Spaceballs.
Yeah, that too. Dude, any Mel Brooks comedy at this point. I mean, To Be or Not to Be, which was a
Yes.
movie which was really weird for a movie I really liked as a kid, and when I talked about like, okay, hold on, I'm gonna get jump off.
And these assholes are so stupid. They made a movie many years ago. They made a movie. It was Romeo and Juliet, but in the modern day with guns, and it
Oh
was
yeah, the
black
one
people.
with Leonardo DiCaprio and
No, no, black people. I don't remember the name of the movie.
was it Romeo Must Die? Was it the one with the Jet Li and DMX?
Nope.
Because that was a kind of a very
I,
good.
I think no. It was about gangsters, black gangsters, and it was Romeo was one of the gangsters, or the son of a gangster. It was a great movie. It's not called Romeo, okay?
Yeah,
I mean, when I say it's Romeo and Juliet, it's the heart of the movie.
it's the basis of the story, but
Yes,
they
exactly.
changed it up to modernize it and put their
Yes,
own spin
exactly,
on it.
exactly. And it's a great movie. It's a good movie. But you didn't go and make Romeo and Juliet in historical Italy back in the day when it was supposed to be taking place, and suddenly Romeo is black and Juliet is Mexican. Okay, so you can do that. You can do
But
things
it's all the
well
compelling
done.
characters, and this has always been my issue. Like, okay, a lot of people gave Spider-Man: Homecoming bullshit, shit. I fucking loved Spider-Man: Homecoming. I had a
I
lot of
don't, and I will tell you why. I'm not going into the Washington Memorial because blah 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 social
but that
justice
was
blah blah blah.
funny. It was kind of a stab at it. I mean, even
Fuck them. No, 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 no. Fuck them. No, fuck them in the ass. I don't want politics one way or the other.
but have you seen Deadpool 2 yet? Because I mean, dude, Deadpool 2 takes some man. I thought Deadpool 2 like over. Granted, I really liked Ant Man and Wasp. I really did. I thought it was fantastic. But I like the cast of Ant Man, like Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, who I've loved since Lost.
I haven't seen those movies because I'm boycotting Marvel and DC.
Now, man,
I
not
only
only
see the movies if someone I know has them in a DVD
no, man,
and I can see it without paying.
please, hey, brother, please watch the Ant Man. I stand like because I mean I stand by this. Everybody in Ant Man hasn't run their cocksucker. In all honesty, they kept their mouth shut, and the chemistry between those characters. because the first Ant-Man, I thought it was going to suck. I'm a big Edgar Wright fan. The guy who did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, which I fucking love. Hot Fuzz. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Even over Shaun of the Dead, which I mean, but I love Edgar Wright. When he got dropped off of it, I thought the movie was going to be horrible. When I finally saw it after it had been in the theater, yeah, my buddy pirated it. Whatever. I was punching myself because it was fantastic. Dude, Michael Penn, like, the cast has such good chemistry. That's the thing I liked about the first Guardians. You know, a lot of people attacked the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie because it was they said Ronan was weak. They couldn't have had a strong villain. The whole point of the Guardians movie was to develop the Guardians of the Galaxy, to bring them into a cohesive whole.
Here's the thing, okay? Ronan was a joke in that
But
movie.
he was a means to an end. That okay?
Yes, I know. Don't get me wrong, okay? The movie was good. It wasn't really a superhero movie, okay? It was
It was a
not.
James. It was a James Gunn movie, and I like James. I've always liked James
It
Gunn.
was another scary movie, okay? It was like that. It wasn't really a superhero movie. It was another superhero movie or something like that. Kind
No,
of
I
a
see what you.
parody.
No, I see exactly what you're saying. And, but I mean, I love Guardians. When I
It
heard
was
James,
funny. It was funny, yes, but it wasn't really what I wanted to see.
it was for me. I mean, I thought I loved it. Man, I'm not kidding. It's one of the few movies, and that's why this whole James Gunn thing has torn me up. There's,
Look, I think, speaking of him, okay, I think they shouldn't have fired him. Okay,
thank you.
now, now here's the thing. You go, you say all that shit. You're joking. Okay, I don't care. And then you start working for Disney, that it's a family oriented business, and you don't have the brains to go and delete that. Man,
Well,
you're stupid.
that's what I said in the video. I'm like, to me, the biggest blame is on Disney. Did nobody sit there? I mean, honestly, they should have just sat down and said, "All right, motherfucker, you are not leaving this goddamn office until you delete that shit."
Exactly.
I mean, that's. I mean, I think he
Exactly.
was.
You have to go back to all of your social media, blah blah blah, and purge everything, because we don't want any surprises in the future. Okay. Now here's the other thing. Okay, I'm against him being fired, but he was in favor of this woman that got fired for a racist joke.
Oh, dude, yeah, they were saying no. That's where I'm torn. And you know what's funny is, and Wet figured this out. You know, they got her for doing a joke where she was dressed as Hitler and like burned some cookies and
Yeah.
said, you know, Roseanne's Jewish, dude.
Yes, I know.
I didn't know this. And I mean, you have Jimmy Kimmel and Sarah fucking Silverman who don blackface,
Yes.
and nobody, I mean, that's the thing that kills me about James Gunn. Part of me is it's just fucking just
It's
desserts.
dumb. It's just dumb. But he made his bed and he has to lie in it. He was in favor of the same shit that now happened to him. The only way, the only way we can hope these motherfuckers stop trying to censor everybody is when it starts happening to them too.
Yeah, but you know
No,
what? Yeah, I'm gonna get really weird conspiracy for a second. Hold up, I'll be right back. I gotta find something real fast. Give me 1 second, all right?
okay, don't be late because I have to go pee.
Dude, go pee, and I'm gonna go find my stuff. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay,
All right.
very well.
See, that's the thing I thought. Hello, I'm back. Jeffrey Mazes, I'm sorry. The screen I'm looking on is really small. That's what I thought was Romeo Must Die, but maybe we're wrong. I don't know. Um, Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Anybody that's watching, we always appreciate it. We're supposed to be talking about role playing, and we so got off fucking subject, and it's kind of amazing, but it's still cool. A couple old dudes, talking shit about the younger generation. We still love y'all. I just need to go to a Red Bull. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, dude. I was just like,
But I'm in that age that I have to go pee or I have to go pee.
Negro, please, dude. Really. I'm going to be 45 in October, man. It's
Dude, I'm 52 now.
Hey, man. But you know what it's about? It's all about being young at heart.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about, like, I always like, but my dad's like, I'm 70. And my dad, one thing he's like, is it my birthday? The boy said, what day is it? And I'm like, when he said that, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's my dad's birthday on the 6th and my uncle's birthday on the 8th. That's when it's like, Dad, it's your birthday. And he's like, you know how old I am? And I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck. And I'm like, it's 69 or 70. It's 69 or 70. He's like, I'm 70. He answered it. And I'm like, but man, my dad looks awesome for 70.
Yeah.
And my dad did some shit back in the day, man. Like, okay, remember Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
My dad was built like that.
Dude.
Yeah, man. This is when I started reading comic books. This is actually kind of interesting. My dad where he worked out was across this road from where I'd buy comic books. So what he'd do is he'd drop me off at the comic book store, and then he'd go work out. And I just, buy my comic. He'd give me some money. I'd buy my comic books and go back and beat him. Dude, I walk over there one day, and if you know old school wrestling, I walk in. My dad's like, "Hey, here's Hillbilly Jim." Like, my dad worked out with Ric fucking Flair, dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And
wow.
I love Ric Flair. Although my favorite wrestler, I ain't gonna lie, is fucking Randy Savage. Fuck y'all. Macho Man is the shit. Macho Man is forever. I cried when he died. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I ain't lying, dude. Like, I've always, because I hate Hogan. I've always hated Hulk Hogan. I think he really hurt the sport. And in some respects, Triple H is doing the same. But whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't watched WWE since CM Punk quit and Daniel Bryan retired. I just haven't really watched it.
You need to start watching Lucha Libre then.
Dude, Lucha Underground I really liked.
No. Lucha Libre. Mexican Lucha Libre. Here. The Mexican.
Hey, you can't. Hey, I will every now and then watch some New Japan. You can't take away from Japanese either.
No, you can't.
And see, the thing is, like, for a while I was watching NXT, and like NXT did some really good stuff. But then when they pulled all the people I was watching NXT up to the normal WWE roster,
yeah,
I was like, they didn't do anything with them. Sasha Banks, man, was fucking a goddamn star. I like what they did with Asuka, but I'm sorry, I'm partial Asian woman, dude. Fucking love Kana. But at least they gave her that undefeated. But they gave her that undefeated streak, and dude, at least because Kana understood what female wrestling was about. It was about looking badass and sexy. That's what I always dug about her.
Yes.
So many shit. Yeah, role playing games. What's up?
Well, what's up with that?
What's up with that? Let's talk about
let's talk about this picture.
Yes, no, that's what I was going to say. You noticed that. Now look at this picture. You got these four folks. You got the kind of, if we start from the left,
who's who? This guy in the left. Who's he?
He's the general white dude. Then you got the guy with the flame shirt. The guy with the flame shirt's your average stoner. That's me.
Okay.
Then you got your gal, and you got your, I hate to say it, you quote unquote minority, at least how it's viewed, but you got maybe your black dude.
Yeah.
But that's my thing is when I was talking about we were the Spurg UN. All right, my role playing group was a white dude, a black dude who was basically the version of Carlton off the Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yes.
My best friend Donnie, who was he was half Filipino. His mom's full blood Filipino. His dad was half American, half Native American.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of fucking Chads from a private school. And this was our little group, man. Like it was amazing. And then, and this is something that made me, again, how pisses me off about the American left is we don't understand how fucking, fortunate we are. When I was talking about the whole Games X thing, that's where we used to play games on Friday night.
This is this asshole, the guy that is that ruined Black Panther, the writer.
Oh, Ta-Nehisi Coates?
Yes, that one. Okay, there's an interview of him, okay? And he's talking about how when he was a kid, his refuge was tabletop RPGs.
You want to hear something even crazier? No, I've got you even better on that. You know who says that they would not be the person they are today without playing D&D, and this dude is a badass. I'm not joking. Vin fucking Diesel.
Oh yes. But no, where I'm going, okay? This dude, this Ta-Nehisi Coates, okay? He's one motherfucking race peddler. Okay? And he wants to sell.
I hate that dude, man. No, he's not a good writer.
He wants to sell us the story that there weren't black people in comic books, either working or as characters. Okay, and dude, I'm older than you, and I have been reading comics, I believe, longer than he's been alive. You're not going to come and tell me that lie. And I'm not going to stay quiet while you lie like that about my hobby, about my people, okay? Because nerds are my people.
Storm, motherfucker, lick my balls.
Yes, and before that too. It's normal.
But I mean, I've always liked Storm. Like I was big. What got me into comic books was the X-Men. It was, and I will never forget this. It was issue 205.
Do you know what was my favorite 3 characters in Marvel? No, 4. Make it 4. My favorite 4 characters in Marvel. It was Spider-Man, because Spider-Man 32, if I remember correctly, was the issue that really, really made me a comic book nerd. Okay? It's the issue where his aunt is dying because of a blood transfusion from his blood. And he's trapped in Dr. Octopus' lair. And he has to lift, I don't know how many tons, and the lair is getting flood or whatever. Inundada. However it's said in English. So that was the issue that made me a comic book nerd, okay? So, Spider-Man. Next up, Power Man. Not Luke Cage. Fuck that noise. Power Man. It was a great name, and he had a great design. Power Man was one of my favorite characters. Shang-Chi. Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, Power Man, and then they made Storm. Then they made Logan.
Like
first, those.
Boom. Which character?
Shang-Chi. Power Man.
Okay, yeah, new Power Man.
Shang-Chi, the master of Kung Fu.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I've got you. Man, see, Man, you know what? I stopped reading comic books when Chris Claremont kept killing the X Men.
Shang-Chi is from the 60s, early 70s, I believe.
Well, I read, man. I used to always collect the Marvel Universe books that had all the information on the characters.
Oh, I know. Yes, I know
Like
which one.
I was obsessed. Like I really, I mean, I like Spider Man was one of my favorites. When I got into Spider Man, it was when he was fighting the Hobgoblin. Like I know why
Yes.
people hate on the Hobgoblin, but fuck y'all, I love the Hobgoblin. He's awesome. But I mean, it was. I got into like X Men 205 was called Wounded Wolf. It was the first appearance. I might be. I think it was at her. And she was in the X Men comics earlier. It was Wolverine's lover, but it was fucking Lady Deathstrike. It was the
Oh,
first
yes.
appearance of her being Lady Deathstrike. And what it was is basically Wolverine out in the fucking howling blizzard with Lady Deathstrike and these like assassins from Mojo's world. Like Lady Deathstrike was made by Spiral.
Yes.
Like the first picture when you open it, I'll never forget it because I bought this like as a collection of my local Toys R Us had this like they used to have these Marvel packs of different comic books, and
Yes.
I bought one of them just on a whim, and that was one of the issues X Men 205, and the art was gorgeous, man. I'm
Yes.
not joking. It was basically just Wolverine trying to survive, and had some just really iconic like I could see certain panels from it. And I started reading the X Men. Like at that time when I was reading X Men is when they started the Marvel Mutant Massacre. The first,
Yes.
basically Mister Sinister, which led into one of my favorite villains of all time, Apocalypse. Even though
Yes.
my favorite Marvel character of all time, and it will always be, is Victor Von fucking Doom, Doctor Doom, you bitches. He beat Galactus in Secret Wars, you fucks. You don't
Yes.
fuck with Doctor Doom.
Yes.
Even though they fucked him up in the movies. And the sad thing is, a Doctor Strange, the main villain was granted it was CGI Dormammu, but the main human villain was played by Mads Mikkelsen, who
Yes.
played Hannibal and also Lashif and Casino Royale, my favorite
Yes.
Bond movie. Dude, that's Doctor Doom. I know with especially with Fox now getting the rights to it, it's probably not going to happen because he was a villain in another movie. But no, you want Doctor Doom, and he's even said he would do it. He would play Doctor Doom. That's your Doctor Doom.
Yes, I can see it.
I mean, it's that's
I can see it. Yes, 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 I can see it. Yes. So, you ever played Mutants and Masterminds?
now. I used to play. Actually, we used to play the Marvel role playing game. But what's crazy is that system was so deranged. I can't remember it.
Yes. Yes,
It,
I played
it
it once. It wasn't good.
No,
The
we never. See, the thing is, I never ran it. My buddy was always the DM on it because he really liked it, and he actually. I mean, no offense, dude. The dude actually fucking played it. We had fun playing it, but I remember I really never liked the system. Like, but he was really good at making really awesome scenarios.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was funny. Is like now and today, if I said my character's name, it's like you're a fucking Nazi, but my character's name was Iron Cross, and his like superpowers, his main superpowers, I call it the Iron Crucifixion.
Yeah.
I'm amazed I could fucking remember that, but what it entailed, I have, yeah, I don't remember, man. My bad.
No, 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 no
No, but
problem.
oh my god. But what we ended up playing was like, I started off with AD&D. Actually, the second game we played was the Marvel Superheroes game.
Yeah.
Then we started getting the World of Darkness stuff, which that was when I was at Games X. I ran a couple of campaigns. I was really good at it. Cthulhu, it was every now and then I would get into Cthulhu is very a hot and cold game. It's like I want to run a Cthulhu campaign, but I'm terrified I wouldn't do it well. I've actually where I did Rifts, a lot of the Palladian games. I've kind of made my own rules for Cthulhu also.
Yeah, you need a system that gets out of the way.
Well, my thing is, okay, with Cthulhu, it's like, if you see some sort of extra dimensional entity, you're
You
like, you
start
go
going
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
but see, my thing is, I hate to say this, but if I saw something like that, my first thought would be like, that's fucking cool. And I'm not joking. Hey, I might die. I don't care. But to know that, yeah, there's something outside of this world of random failure that
Yeah, but I don't remember correctly, maybe, but I don't think that it's just because you saw it. It's something in the psychic realm or
well, no,
something
it,
like
it
that.
goes outside of that's the whole thing. It goes outside of what you would think of what your character would think established reality is.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at in the context of Lovecraft and the Cthulhu stories, it fits.
Yes.
But see, my thing is one of the things I wanted to do was just take, um, if you made the sanity check, you would take no sanity. It wouldn't affect you. You would only lose sanity if you miss the sanity check, and I would actually take the lower end of it because what it is okay. When you look at the Cthulhu entities, There's two. When you lose sanity, there's two values. The first value is if you make your sanity check. Which like if you see a deep one, most of the time you're all right. You're not going to lose any sanity. But if you miss your sanity check, that's when you will. you know, Deep One's a very general Cthulhu, Shadow over Innsmouth type creature.
I know what you
Yeah, but
what
you
you
see, what I'm
mean.
saying you wouldn't lose it. Where me, it would be if you made the sanity check, you wouldn't lose any sanity. But if you did, you would lose. If you made the check, you're good. But if you missed it, I would take the lower value of that sanity check. So that way your character may not go
But then
crazy.
you can't do a check really because you can have several results. So you need to work it in a different way. I would make it not as a sanity check, really, not really, but I would make some. I don't know. Do you know what weaponizes uses to say when he's signing off?
Uh,
Pray for sanity.
yeah.
Okay, so you saw an eldritch being. Okay, so you have to pray for sanity. Otherwise, you lose sanity.
Well, see, one of the things is, have you ever heard of Delta Green? When it comes to the Cthulhu game, it's awesome. It's like basically they've adapted the X Files to fucking Cthulhu. Seriously, it's
Oh,
like the government.
I have now. I have to buy that.
Dude, check this out. But no, trust how they've set this up. Okay, do you know what the Migo are? The fungi from Yuga. They originally in the story. Dude, Lovecraft's my favorite writer. One of my favorite writers. The other one's Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who wrote Fight Club. But I fucking love Cthulhu. I mean Cthulhu and Lovecraft. The Migo, Yugoth is Pluto, and it was the Whisper in the Darkness was the story. Now they're kind of like a weird ass insectoid plant that's more fungi than living matter as we know it.
Yeah.
Well, basically, what the Vigo have done is they have created the Greys, and the Greys are what we think are traditional aliens. So the government's dealing with the Greys when in reality it's the Migo, and that's how they're manipulating everything. And it's a lot more complicated than that. And I'm oversimplifying it to the nth degree. But dude, it's awesome. I mean, seriously, Cthulhu meets the X Files. That is chocolate my peanut butter. What the fuck is up?
That good?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I mean, that's a really interesting concept, and it plays into there's a group called the Fate out of New York, and they're basically ruled. Okay, Cthulhu mythos at the center of everything there is Azathoth. Like Azathoth, the Cthulhu mythos is public domain. I'm working on something myself, and one of the things I'm using from Cthulhu mythos is Azathoth. Okay, Galactus. Another one of my favorite Marvel villains is Galactus, and Galactus is a fucking fascinating character when you think about it, because
Yeah.
he is a product of what was before the Big Bang.
Yes.
See, Azathoth was at the center before everything. There was Azathoth, and so what I look at is Azathoth is H.P. Lovecraft's Galactus,
Good.
and Well, there's Azathoth, and he has like it's kind of his will where he's stuck dreaming. And this is actually an interesting concept I like about Azathoth is basically our universe exists because he's asleep and dreaming. If he ends up waking up, it's going to be the universe ends. We're stuck in his dream, and I think that's just beyond fascinating. So if you think about that, okay, so Azathoth is dreaming, then you have your dreaming self, correct?
Yes.
Well, that's a Nyarlathotep. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but Nyarlathotep is basically Azathoth and these elder gods that are around him. He's their way to interact with everything. He just likes to fuck shit up. He's chaos. He's the chaos incarnate. And see, within the Delta Green, you have the Fate, and the Fate is led by this guy named Stephen Aziz, and Stephen Aziz is basically Nyarlathotep.
Oh, I see.
And then there's to me, I like Nyarlathotep, but my favorite character in the Cthulhu mythos, I like where Azathoth is as a center of something and this kind of being from somewhere else where we're caught in his dream. But the other thing I liked, and this was a big influence on Lovecraft, a lot of people don't know, is I believe his name was Stephen Chambers. I know his last name was Chambers, but he wrote a book called The King in Yellow. The King in Yellow is fucking badass. They even made a creepy pasta. The what is it, the SLCs or SRPs or whatever. They even based an SRP. You know what I'm talking about? It's like the creepy pastas.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes.
They made one off based. I forget what they called it, but it wasn't the King in Yellow. And actually, the first episode of True Detective with Woody Harrelson and Matthew
I
McConaughey.
still have to see the second season of that.
No, dude, don't.
No?
No, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Oh, fuck.
I hate, dude. Honestly, I hated the way they ended the first season. I really liked the first season up until the way they ended it. I did not like the way that pissed me off. It should have been darker because that what they're talking about was the Yellow King, the Yellow King they talk. That's the King in Yellow, and that was the King in Yellow was a big influence on Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos. Even Lovecraft said that, and they're kind of you can read it on the web.
There was this dude that wrote before Lovecraft that his work is also in the public domain now, and he was
That's probably Robert Chambers. It's probably the King in Yellow.
I don't remember. It's a guy that even Lovecraft says that he was influenced by his writings.
I'm telling you, that's it. I'm telling you, it's Chambers, but it's the King in Yellow. And what the King in Yellow is, and this is something else that because the King in Yellow is another character I want to use because it just fascinates. I love art. That's the thing. Anything, whether video games, writing, drawing, comics, I just love art. And what the King in Yellow is, and there's to me the idea of that art can drive people crazy, and that's what the King in Yellow is. It's a 2-act play. The first act is very innocuous, nothing crazy, but the second act drives you insane.
Yes.
And I like that idea. And they've had stories behind it, but because it's behind public domain, I've created my own mythology behind the King in Yellow and what he actually is.
Yeah.
And he's basically a character that tried to look into Revelation and got kind of driven crazy by it, and he's kind of trapped because in the universe you got Azathoth as the center of everything. And where he is he's inside this thing called the Ura. And I'm not gonna lie, I got it from the name sounded cool because there was an old PlayStation fighting game, the original PlayStation called Battle Arena Toshinda Ura. And I just thought that Ura part sounded awesome, so I stole it. I mean, URA. It's not like you could really trademark something like that.
Yeah.
And then from the Ura, so you have Azathoth at the center of the Ura, and then behind the Ura is a giant wall. It's called the Cradle, and it's just basically this just giant wall of just infinite chaos. Then outside of that is the perimeter, and that's basically what happened was the King in Yellow. What he did, it just kind of where he tried to look into Revelation and failed. he was basically sent to walk across this perimeter for a long time. I've been working on some shit for a long time, man, for like 20 years, and it's just now within talking to a lot of folks like you and
Yes.
seeing how fiction work. I've been able to kind of like start putting these pieces I've had floating in my head forever into place.
You have to keep a piece of paper always on you, man. Eh?
No, I do. I can't. I've got this notebook full of all sorts of crazy shit. It's like falling apart, but I mean, it's everything I've come up with.
Yeah, and let me tell you something from what you have told me so far. Okay, from what you have told me so far, and from the fucking love that you use for the stuff, you need to do something with this. Okay, you need to write something
I
or
want
do
to honestly,
something.
I want to do a comic book. I've been working, man. I think I've sent you the picture. My dude Jaron, he drew the picture of Papa Emeritus, the lead singer of Ghost, that they got signed when they came to the town.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince him to like. I want him to do my art. I mean, I want to try to get him to do because man, the kid one time he drew this black. He drew a pencil drawing of this girl's portrait, and dude, I'm not lying. You would have been hard pressed to tell if this was a fucking portrait or a drawing.
Fuck.
I mean, my issue with him is, and that's a lot of people with talent, is he doesn't work for it. Now I hate to use him as an example now because I fucking can't stand him, but it's Eminem. I used to really love Eminem until he drew this, line in the sand between his fans,
Yeah.
and it was a little bitch. But I will stand by. Eminem worked to get where he was,
Yes, of course.
and see, my buddy Jaron, he has natural talent, but dude, if you're not working for it, trying to get yourself out there, which I'm not saying he is now doing it, you know, took him a little kick in the ass, but he's going to. But he was always like, "Well, I've got talent." It's just like, but you're not working towards it, man. It takes struggling. You can have all the ideas in the world, but if you're not sitting there going out and working it and pimping it, and with again with him, he's fucking sick with talent. You just gotta, he all he's gotta do is keep with it. He'll be successful.
Yes.
Just like, okay, I'm talented, pay me. No, nigga, it don't work like that.
You need to work and sell yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I was trying, tell my boss, man. It's like I like this whole YouTube thing. This is just something that makes me happy. Even when I DJ and I got two people listening, one person, okay, fuck. That's what I enjoy. I miss DJing. That was my favorite. The one thing, man, because this like last night was the first time I had DJing forever. I'm pretty much doing it for a week. It's something I love. I love
Yeah.
music. I would never go back to the strip
Yeah,
club
yeah,
ever again.
that's the thing. Okay, when I was 18, just 18, I think so. 18. I was really great the drawing, even if I say so myself. Okay, and I wanted to work making comics. So I got job. I got a job. I get to work in a studio here in Mexico, and they hired me as an apprentice because I didn't have any experience, and they were paying me half the minimum wage. But well, okay, no problem. I had to go there and fix things and clean stuff and make sure everybody had what they needed to have to work for the day. Okay, but then and then they mm, were teaching me how to do comics because you can draw but not drawing is not making comics. Okay, you can be really good at making comics and still at drawing and still not know how to do a comic. So they were teaching me. Okay, So the who was first? Who was the dude that went first? I think it was the dude that did the backgrounds. Okay,
Okay.
he quit at the middle of the comic. He quit, and so these people took the work he had done and told me, "You need to finish this." And I was okay, no problem. It was a huge problem because I wasn't as good at making comics as I was, and I had to do it in another people's style also. So okay, I'm doing the backgrounds, and then the main artist quits too, and so now I have to do the backgrounds, and I have to do the main drawings, imitating the style of two people. Okay, and then the letterer quit.
Jesus fucking Christ! All right,
Okay.
when I hold up, when I got this is funny because this is like I wanted to say this before, but it's for you, it's like the level keeps dropping. It's like you're standing on this floor and then the floor cracks and you hit the next one and it goes down. See me when I got into strip club, when I got to DJing your strip club, no shit. One of my best friends, Sonia, Mama Bear, called me. She's like, "Hey, dude, I'm bored. Come see me at this club." Wouldn't do nothing. Come up there and see her. I was at the club for 10 minutes and their DJ quit. I go up to him and I was like, "Hey, I used to DJ. Can I try?" Now, granted, I did Gothic and Industrial. You know, little vampire kids that dress like vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I DJ'd for. I never. They hated me because I never dressed like them. I dressed like the hood than I am. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I got to. But it's like when you kept telling that story, it's like when you first said the thing, like the background guy. I was like, yeah, man, it's kind of like when I got the strip club when the guy walked out, and you're like, and then the guy who was drawing the characters quit, and I was like, yeah, damn, that kind of
Yeah.
sucks. And you're like, then the letter quits. I'm like, fuck, man,
Yeah.
dude,
And then
really?
the inker quits. Okay. So I'm
Holy shit!
working over 12 hours a day for half the minimum wage. Okay. But I didn't mind because it was my passion, my love. Okay. I wanted to do that. And I figured, well, they will put my name on the book. Even if it's only as a, I don't know, inker, you know,
Yeah.
they didn't even do that.
See, all right. When I was in high school, now granted, a lot of it revolved around the fact that my dad and my art teacher were like played golf together. They're really good friends, and like to this day, my art teacher still tells my dad, "Jason needs to get into art." But see, my uncle, my wonderful uncle that I was talking about, when I was getting ready to go into college, he's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "I'm gonna do art." And he's like, "Look, though, you're gonna have to, when I was in high school, and this is not ego, man. I know this is gonna sound so much like fucking ego, but I was so good that I just got away doing what I wanted to do. Legitimately, like, my art teacher gave me an A minus my junior year, and I lived across the street from the high school, so I walked back and I didn't cuss him out, but I was kind of pissed off about it. It kind of damaged my ego. It was petty, but whatever. So he tried to get me suspended, and I felt bad. So I walked home, and like I said, I'm across the street from the school. So I walk home, feel bad. I go back to his. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna let this. You gotta talk to your principal." So I go to my principal. My principal's like, "Roberson, you're an artist, man. You guys are temperamental. Don't worry about it. I'll see you next year." I mean, it's it. I like my best friend, both of us, named Jason. Like, none of us had original names. Like to this day, my two best friends in the world, they're both named Donnie. It's like we call it, there's Filipino Donnie and Black Donnie. And everybody thinks we're being racist. It's like, no, it's a level where we can tell those fuckers apart when we're talking about them, you know? But, man, it was, art was awesome, man. But my uncle told me, he's like, you're going to go into it to get paid. You're not going to like it. And he was right.
Yeah.
Within a year, I changed my major because it's like, I got away from my Predator box set was awesome.
Look, I wouldn't even mind if they kept me with the same money, as long as they would have given me something.
Well, credit, man. Just
A
give
little
yourself
credit, help me build my career, But they didn't even do that. So I said, fuck it. And then I went and started working in the restaurant business. I was cleaning the bathrooms in a cantina.
dude. Trust me, man. No, no,
No, I had no
no,
problem.
no, I do just
Look, my dad used to say from whore and upwards, it's work.
My thing is just I do. I mean,
And the work, el trabajo ennoblece. The work makes you fuck. There must be a saying in English too, but I don't know it.
that which does not kill you only makes you stronger.
No, 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 no. Work makes you noble. Something like that.
Well, I mean, no, that's the truth. I mean, my issue I'm having with my job now, it's not that I really don't like my job, you know. Well, I'm not liking it now, but my issue is it's like I like to be able to just it's not have to worry about it, not being stressed out by it, to where I can get off work, come home, and do something else, and not just feel like I just got beat the fuck out of like by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
It's I don't know, but I mean, it's the
Dude,
way I look at it now.
I
It's
was
still a
working
first world.
in the restaurant and that business for over 20 years. I ended being the manager of several restaurants.
I worked for my mom used to be married to this guy, and I ended up when I was in college on my breaks working for him. And if I'd have stuck with it, I'd have made so much money. And actually, it wasn't the first Jesus. He was the first Mexican guy I ever worked with. Jesus was the fucking shit, dude. Me and him had so much fun because a lot of the waiters, we were bus boys. And
Yeah.
a lot of the waiters we worked around there were some cool waiters. Don't get me wrong, there were some awesome ones, but there were some that were such total cocksuckers.
Yes.
And so we made well. I didn't. Jesus had a family, and I was just some dumb college kid that liked to cause chaos. So basically, what it was is I would cause the chaos, and Jesus would just cover for me. Like one day, this guy, one of the waiters, was like, I did something. Everybody hated this dude. Even most of the waiters hated this guy. And he was like, "Hey, Jason, do you ever smoke pot?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you ever inhale?" And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Jesus. I'm like, "This motherfucker." Well, at the end of the night, we had these drawers that you'd put rolls in to heat them. Well, throughout the night, there would be that random roll that would stay in there all night. So by the end of the night, that motherfucker was hard as a goddamn football. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You ever seen those? Okay. So that night he said that, I'm sitting there cleaning them out, and I got one of those rolls. And I'll sit there, I pick it up. I'm sitting there, and it's hard as fuck, and I'm looking at Jesus with that look like, "Hey, dude, I'm getting ready to do something. You gonna cover me?" He gives me the nod. And look, I have the shittiest fucking aim on the planet. No joke. Like,
Yes.
couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a shotgun. But that night, man, I was fucking Jesus. I goddamn threw it and across. He was bending. And what's even better is it was towards the end of the night. The people's table he was waiting on were cool. I knew them, and they knew I hated him. So while he's sitting there, I fucking beam him in the fucking side of the head. It was beautiful. Oh my god, it was sexy. And it was just the ankle and everything. It was really good for me to turn around and act like I'm doing something. And he looks up and says, "Fuck, Jason!" And I'm like, what? You throw it. And I'm like, no, I didn't. He goes, "Hey, Jesus, who threw it?" And Jesus said, "No, dude, I didn't see nothing, man." And it was just so beautiful. It was awesome because I fucking got away with it because the boss used to sleep with my mom. And I mean, they didn't everybody love me. Was a fucking. I'm sorry, I'm a fucking idiot. Like even in
we
my job
used
now,
to
I could bitch. It's like I always tell everybody. It's like yeah, I know I bitch a lot, but I'm funny about it. Fuck y'all.
we used to send the new guy. We used to send him to ask to the kitchen if they had any powder oil.
I know it's the dumb test. And luckily, I didn't have to do that because everybody was scared because the manager used to be
No,
very tough.
you don't know the half of it, and I can't tell you in English because it's really hard to speak of some of this stuff. How do you call the thing where you cook the ham? The
Oh,
slicer?
I know. I see what you're saying, man. Because I was sitting there. I read this article today. It's actually going to be my next video, and it's this our favorite racist that the New York Times hired, Sarah Jeong.
Yeah.
Like she hung this. She's this girl in China who does her own tech. I mean, dude, no joke. A fucking hot ass Chinese girl. I mean, smoking hot. That is like a goddamn super hacker. I'm not joking. Like the girl does amazing work, and they wanted to interview her, and she gave them like these boundaries of how this interview should go and all this,
Yes.
and they totally broke it. Like any journalistic integrity.
Of course.
Now I'll send you the
Well, of course.
article here. I'll send you the article here later. But man, like you need to read it. It's goddamn fascinating. But
Send,
yeah, they
send
totally
it to
they
me in the Twitter.
yeah, no, I will. I'll send you a DM with it, man.
Yeah.
It's a good article. Like I posted it, man. I encourage everybody to read it, man. It's I mean, they and it makes sense. And what the whole point of the article is, it's basically she's taking a swipe at Vice because Vice basically, uh, China's got that's the thing wherever you live, whatever country there's different customs and whatnot.
Yes.
It's perspective, and that's something with me studying history that I have to kind of take into you have to take into account. It's
Yeah.
perspective. And she was talking about there's things that are weird in China that could get me in trouble. That dumb other that people in other countries would think, oh, why is this such a big deal? And that's something I was worried about, and they didn't respect that. I mean, the girl built it's amazing that Jason Koleb or something.
Yes.
The guy, one of the guys in Vice. She found his address. She built a pair of video MP3 boots and made a video of it. Didn't post it on the internet. Just sent it to him because he wasn't responding. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of if you look at it, it was kind of a veiled threat, but if you look at her perspective, she's just trying to get the dude's attention, but she didn't
Yes.
post it on the internet. But she made these MP3 boots with this video screen, and she sent a video of him, and it was like it played music, and then like every couple seconds it showed like flash really quick his address.
That's great.
I mean, dude, and I'm not kidding, dude. You see that, and that's one of the things I always, I found amazing is just like, I'm all for powerful women. I mean, growing up, my first Nintendo game, Metroid,
Yeah.
Samus. I love the first two Alien movies. I just pretend the other ones don't exist.
Yes, me too.
But Alien and Aliens, like we
Yeah.
wouldn't have like me, I'm a big gamer. You would not have modern video games these days if you did not have fucking aliens. You
Pretty
know,
much, yes.
um, Bayonetta, one of my favorite video games of all time, and Bayonetta is a kind of a kick-ass character. Sarah Connor,
And Bayonetta is made for by a woman.
yeah, yep, yeah, she's a little Japanese woman too, and but Bayonetta's not. It's the thing is, it's Bayonetta to me is what the prototypical powerful woman is. Somebody that is confident with themselves. Yes, she's attractive, but she's a fucking video game character. But somebody's comfortable with themselves, and still being a badass, man. One of the greatest scenes in video games, in my opinion, it's from Bayonetta 2. But it's because one of her demons that served her turned against her earlier in the game. And but she's got this one Madama Butterfly. It's like this huge demonic looking woman. And she's like, I know somebody's still got my back, and they fist bump. And it's so stupid and so simple, but it's just awesome.
Yes.
But I mean, there's so many other things about, like in the original Bayonetta, like this angel's talking to her, and she's like, she just goes, it's like I'm a fucking celebrity around here, and it's such a great fucking line.
Look, dude, I have to go in a little bit more, and we haven't talked shit.
I know, man, it's crazy, but dude, I mean,
but I have no problem. Okay, as long
no,
as
dude,
long
we're
as you promise
doing
me.
a fucking history stream with me, man.
Yes,
No
yes.
joke,
No,
man.
no, 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 no. That's a promise. That's a promise. I'm going
No,
the
you
history
can hang with me
stream
on
with you.
that.
But here's the thing: you have to come back next week.
No, we're doing I had a blast. No, this is a tradition, motherfucker. What you talking about?
Very well.
We doing this every. No, we're gonna be. No, this is gonna be our. We need to do Tuesday nights, 7:00. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Then that's what we're gonna start doing. I'm cool with that. I mean, dude, it's so good to talk. I mean, you can hang with me in conversation. That's all. I mean,
yeah. We need to do this every week, okay?
No, we do, man. It's just because
every week, and we need to start talking more about games.
Next week we need to put when we're pimping next week. Next week it's going to be all about RPGs, and then let's
focus.
And then we're going to schedule another one, just another bullshit session. Basically, man, because you're more of the RPG stuff. We'll do on your channel. We'll do more RPG stuff, and on my channel we'll just
we can do both. A little bit of RPG and a little bit of talking bullshit too, man. Come on, but which RPG? Because come on, you know more about RPGs than I.
Well, no, we can just talk about stories, but I haven't gotten half the stuff like Grant. Okay, it doesn't look like anybody's watching, so I'll tell it next week too. All right, we Games X. We got sneak previews to go see Army of Darkness. So that was about 60 or 70 nerds to go see this movie.
Yes.
Just about everybody that played games there on Friday nights went to go see it. So we're playing this. Okay, I'm doing my first Cthulhu game. The guy that was running it was a fucking chump. Could not fucking do it. It was awful. It was pissing us all off. People around us were kind of watching because we were starting to antagonize our DM because he was awful. He was not good.
Yeah.
So we're in this guy, he's like, all right, you're in this character's hiring our group. He's like, yeah, you're in his library. He has this book that's under glass. I said, I'm going to pull out Thor's hammer and hit it and take the book. And he goes, you don't have Thor's hammer. I said, yes, I do. Right here. And I wrote it on my sheet because I was getting pissed off. So I wrote it on my sheet while he's watching, held up. See, Thor's hammer. And he's like, so we go back. He's like, no, you don't have it. I'm like, yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I mean, it was like his. He goes, all right, fine. If you say it, you've seen Army of Darkness, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because it plays in. He says, if you could say Thor's hammer's name, I'll give it to you. And I go, okay, it's Mel. And he goes, no, you don't get it. The minute he said that, like I said, everybody had been following it because everybody could kind of see things were starting to get heated. The minute I did that, everybody said, he said it. He gets it. You get it. Everybody in the room turned on him instantaneously, and no shit. 5 minutes later, he shut his books and left. But dude, that was to me, that was the greatest thing I've ever
That's so
done in the history
fun.
of role playing because it was perfect. And it, like I said, the most beautiful thing is everybody backing me up. When they did that, I'm like, oh my god, I
That's
feel so good right now,
so funny, man. Oh my god. I I
man.
I I never had any real bad GMs or DMs. The bad one is the last one, and he just is bad because he just up and quit. He never even told us why he was quitting. Nothing. He just let us all hang in there. But there was this. We were playing when I was really little, and I had to play with my sister because she wanted to play with me, and grandma said that we should let her play with us. Okay? Now my sister is way younger than me, and she doesn't like the stuff that I like. So we were playing, and she had this character. It was a princess. It was oh, I don't remember. It was a princess, and it was so beautiful, and her dress was really long and pink, and she was a little girl, and she didn't like the stuff that I like. So she make this character, okay, and well, we had to let her because otherwise my grandma would take the chancla voladora, and dude, you didn't want to get in the other side of la chancla, okay? You didn't want to. So she was playing with us, and then my cousin, the game was his, okay? We didn't have the money to buy that kind of stuff, but he did. His parents did, so he took the game when they went to my house, and we were playing, and he was the DM because of course, you know. So out comes the what monster was it? An orc? Yes, I think it was an orc. Out comes the orc, and we have to fight with the orc. And my sister goes, "Why can't we play to be friends?" Did you
Sorry.
hear?
No, I'm listening, but I just found something that just blew my mind. Sorry.
Okay. So my sister goes, "Why can't we play that we are all friends?" And what are you talking? We are friends. No, 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 no. I mean with the orc. Fuck. We couldn't play with her. Okay, so we pretended when she wanted in, we pretended to play with her while playing or not playing really, just to entertain her until she was started getting bored and went away to play with her dolls.
And it's like, okay, all those orcs we're being friendly with, we're gonna kill those fuckers right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
No, what I was kind of freaking out when you were telling this story, it was like I was thinking about our very first campaign because it's funny. Like me and my uncle to this day, and this has been almost like 30 something years. Our first campaign, my uncle's character was the only one to survive. It was from the Secret of Bone Hill uh,
Yeah.
module. And my uncle's wizard is inside a prismatic sphere while an illusion of a fucking fire giant was wants to kill him.
Yeah.
Actually, and also I think my character is hiding in a tree. Yeah, my character was hiding in a tree because I knew we were going to get slaughtered.
Okay.
Well, no, it's just funny because it was like it's weird the things you remember. No, it was okay. Our first campaign, like we were on, this was like from levels 2 to 4, and everything was going good. But this was when the hot girl that my uncle like taught was teaching us to play D&D. They were having issues,
Yeah.
so that kind of reflected in the game.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, that's what, dude. There was a reason my character was hiding in a tree.
I can see it.
And I mean,
I can see. Oh yes.
I'd already been killed by a Lizard King. Like I got resurrected. My character got resurrected, but I didn't. I missed my Constitution check, so I lost one of my hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, like yeah, it was. Our campaign got kind of bloody.
Well, it used to be like that
Well, see,
because
we had this theory like a lot while back. We like after that debacle, we had this theory. It was like, okay, we're gonna make really balls out powerful characters and learn how to survive with them, and then once we have low level characters, we'll be okay. To this day, I'm still trying to figure out the logic of that.
no, it doesn't work like that.
No, but these are
There's there was this game. Yeah, 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 yeah. DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics.
never heard of it.
It's a retro clone. It's part of the OSR. Okay, and they have this mm, PC funnel, they call it. Okay, so when you start playing, everybody makes 4 characters. Okay, every player makes 4 characters and plays all of them at the same time because most are going to die.
We
But
see.
if your character gets to the next level, then you can choose a class.
Have you ever heard of the Tomb of Horrors? It's actually a very legendary D&D.
Yes, it's a everybody's going to die.
Yeah,
Don't
and
yes.
see, thing is, my neighbor was running it, and he was actually a really good DM. And this was our powerful characters, and this was I forget that it was around like I think the dungeon the module was designed for levels like 12 to 14.
Yes.
Our characters were 20, and we were in Rick, that was his name, the DM. Rick was like, "You guys are still probably going to die, dude. I know this module because it had the pictures and everything." So we get in the main hall and they got the yellow brick road. They got these yellow bricks. And
Yes.
we're fucking god awful powerful characters, and so we're in there. It's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm gonna skip down to. I was I'm the powerful fighter. My uncle's girlfriend was the cleric. They'd actually kind of smooth things out. That's why we started this new campaign with these more powerful characters.
Yes.
And then my uncle was the wizard. So I'm hopping down, follow the yellow brick road, and I fall in a pit with spikes. But my character's real powerful. I survive it. I get up. My uncle's girlfriend's cleric heals me. What are you gonna do? Follow the yellow brick road. This happens to be like 3 times. So I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do now? I'm not following the fucking yellow brick road. 20 feet, I fall into the pit that wasn't on the yellow brick road. I mean, dude, it was the most. We should have died. Rick was actually very generous. There's a part where you get trapped and like it's an illusion that everything's falling down and you're supposed to die. And the only reason we figured out there was an illusion because he kept going, "I will believe, I will believe." My uncle father, holy fuck, this is an illusion. I just believe it. That old thing. But we should have died in that dungeon. I mean, there's only like 3 monsters besides the Demi Lich. But the crazy thing is, my character had the only weapon that could hurt a Demi Lich, and that wasn't tactical. It just happened to like fall into place. Acerak could get hurt by vorpal weapons, and I had a +5 vorpal blade. And the Hand of Vecna, the Arch Lich. My character was,
Yes.
yeah, man. Oh man, I miss the old. Like it's been funny. I've got the AD&D second edition rules. Like I bought them just to have them. It's the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual Compendium. It's like the TSR like collector's edition versions.
Oh yes.
But I do have all the old AD&D books on fucking PDF. Because I mean, we used to have all. I've kicked myself like when I get on sometimes on the internet and see how much some of those books are worth, and I realize that I was dumb, young and dumb, and let them get fucked up because
I don't know if I ever told you. I the only RPG I bought back in the day was the Star Wars West End Games.
no, I know, dude.
Now,
That's Rick. We never okay. Rick, like the guy I was telling you about that was doing the Tomb of Horrors. He
yeah,
ran that. He ran that game. We
it
never.
was great. It was a great game. I had the core book and the second one that was the guide, I think.
See, Mickey was just my uncle was just dumb and left me those because those D&D books were his. My vampire books and most of my Palladium books got stolen from
Well, I bought those books, and in somewhere when we were moving from one house to another, a whole case of books got lost in the moving.
I had the
So
original.
there was those books and some other books of mine that got lost there, and now they are reprinting it. It's a collector's edition. It has the first three, four books, maybe no, three. I think the first three books or two books. $60, man.
Dude,
Okay, $60. Maybe in the USA it's not that much money. Okay, but you come here, $60 is a lot of money.
no, that's expensive as fuck, dude. Seriously, that's pretty expensive, man.
So someone told me that they were printing them, and told me who was printing them, and I said, "Oh shit, I want this now." And I went to the site, and yeah, sure, they are printing them and they are selling them, and it's $60 the book, the single book. And I said, "What? No, I don't have that kind of money."
Well, like I actually bought. See, I still had my Call of Cthulhu fifth edition, like from 1992. Like I still have it. I'm actually right now where I'm sitting. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
Then I bought the sixth edition. The seventh edition. Originally, they didn't have it as a. The only way you could get it like an actual hardback printing or trade paperback printing was the Kickstarter, and I didn't invest in it. But I like Chaosium. Like that's the one. If I don't didn't already, that's the one thing with role playing game books. There's a lot of things that yeah, it's the internet. We'll download shit. But the one thing I try not to is game systems I respect. Like when I downloaded the Palladium stuff,
I,
I
I
used to
think I think the many of those publishers are kind of dumb, because if they gave you a way to try their game, many people would play it, and those who are going to pirate it anyway, they aren't going to buy it anyway. You know what I mean?
no, I agree.
So if to try your game I have to spend 40, $60, I'm not going to. It's a lot of money for a game that I don't know if I'm going to like.
It's one game I really liked it. I can't run it, but I'd like to find somebody that people like to play it, and it's been a while, and I'm like, the last time I played it was second edition, and I have my second edition book right next to my fifth edition Shadowrun.
I never liked it
I
Shadowrun
love
very much.
Shadowrun, man. But the thing with Shadowrun is, like I said, I can't run it, but the DMs I had that ran Shadowrun ran great fucking campaigns.
You know what's my problem with Shadowrun? It's cyberpunk, but that's not cyberpunk. That's my problem.
Well, I mean, it's no different than, I mean, it's, in a lot of respects, which I love Rifts, but it's, the thing is, the system I'm the most comfortable with, besides the original AD&D system, would be Palladium games. And it's just because we tinkered with them to create our own, Palladium games, man, that their system has a lot of problems. It really does. Maybe we were playing it right how they were supposed to, but man, the first major battle we had seriously lasted like 2 gaming sessions. It shouldn't have, but it was just the way the rules were set up. So when we finished that aspect of the campaign, we all sat down and said, "Guys, we gotta change this shit.
Yeah,
This isn't cool." So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing, okay? If they gave you uh, a condensed edition of the first book and they gave it away for free in as a PDF, okay? So you play it, la la la. You want to buy the book? Here's the link, and we're going to sell it to you as a PDF. I don't know, for $2-3, because we don't want to make a lot of money from the PDF. We want you to buy the printed version. You know.
And a lot of people want it, but I mean, even then, if you got, I mean, I think it's a gaming system
So
that,
at $2, $3 a piece for a PDF, not printed, a PDF.
well, that's
How
what I'm
many
saying.
people would say, "Okay, I want it"?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. The bottom, because if you made a good system, a fun world that players want to play around in. I mean, just think about it. I mean, a PDF isn't shit, dude. The overhead on a PDF isn't anything, and if you,
Yes.
I mean, you could. I mean, think about it. I mean, you're just looking at your time, but if you got it comes, it's a risk reward. Okay, I spent you know you know 2 years building this in my spare time. And yes, it's my spare time, but then you put it out there and for $2 a pop, and then you have 100,000 people get it. Do the fucking math.
Yes.
You
Exactly.
take out and then if people want the hardcover edition, you just work out a deal with. I'm sure there's a lot of printers out there that would help you with that. Because yes, a lot of people wouldn't buy the hardcover, but you could still make enough. If enough people like the system, there are going to be those people out there. It's like, you know what, I'm old school too. I like art. I
You
like
you
books.
you you, you make the PDF without mostly without art.
Or just, I mean,
Okay.
or make it a small group of people, and just say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Because okay, look, all right, you have somebody working on the system. Three people working on the system, and then say 3 people working on the art, and everybody's in agreement. Look, everybody, we're just going to, whatever we make off of this, we all split together.
Yeah.
All right. Hold up.
No, but I mean, you make the PDF without art because you want to sell the hard copy.
Oh shit, dude!
You
I
know.
didn't even think about that.
So in the PDF, there's a couple of illustrations, but not many. It's in order to make you want to buy the hardcover
Bro,
and the hardcover of the
that's a
monsters.
good idea, man. Holy shit. That's really fucking good, man.
And like what I am going to do, If I manage to find people that want to buy my books, I'm going to make them living documents. Okay? So if you buy one of my hardcover books, okay, you are going to have the right for any upgrade to the book. It's not going to be a second edition and a third edition and a fourth edition, and you have to buy the book again.
See, that's the thing that blew my mind. I didn't even realize Vampire the Masquerade was up to fifth edition.
Yeah.
When I read that the new fifth edition's coming out, I'm like, what?
Yeah. And you
Really?
have to buy the book all over again. Doesn't matter if you have the fourth edition, you have to buy the fifth edition. And they want to sell it to you at full price too. So here's the thing. If you tell me, look, dude, we were working with a D6 system, and now we are working with a D10 system. We had to make a whole lot of changes, and the old book isn't going to work with you anymore.
Well, that's like D&D fifth edition versus fourth, which I haven't played them, but I've been reading articles on it. And
No, I don't play anything older than 3.5.
I won't do anything Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the
No,
Coast.
no, no. I don't play any Wizards of the Coast. But here's the thing: you can play books and games that have the feel of 3.5 and before that, and you can do it for free, and it's legal.
Yeah, 3.5 was like open source, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And see,
But there's people that have made new games trying to make you feel like you were playing first edition or BX or AD&D
they didn't give me first edition.
or Horns
Fuck Thaco.
or Horns. First edition. You need to find for first edition. You need to find white box. That's the name, white box. Okay,
Or hold on.
white box. It's wizards and no warriors and fuck
Oh shit, it's on my
swords and sorcery or something like that.
Damn it, it's on my other fucking hard drive. Damn it. I was gonna say because I've got all the first and second edition books, even modules.
You need to find also. You can find a game, a book. It's called Osric, OSIRIC, Osric. It's a first edition. Okay, without being first edition, it's not a copy. It's a game made to have the feel of the first edition. What else can you find? Basic fantasy. I love basic fantasy. You can download every single PDF for free, and they are selling the books at cost, printed, $4, $5. For $60, you get, I don't know, over 10 books.
Dude.
And it's not a 30 pages book either. We're talking over 100 pages each. Okay? Big books.
I'm actually curious to see how Web's Obsidian Dawn comes out.
Yes, I want to play that.
Yeah, I do too, man. Because like he's got that he showed like the it's like the Salem witch trial people meet the Templars, and I'm like, dude, I'm so wanting to play one of those. I want to play in that world because that's my shit.
Yes. Yes, and the dude knows his stuff too.
No, dude, Vince is awesome.
He's way better at world building than me. Way better.
Well, like I liked his his idea is pretty fucking great, man. Like it really is. When he was talking about like the giant space whale, I'm like, it's so crazy, it works.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, because and that's the thing is, it's just so out there, and it's a cool concept. There's things that are off the wall that are just off the wall. That you know, when you hear it, you just kind of get that side of like, really, dude.
There's weird that doesn't work, and then there's weird that you say fuck yes. And his brand of weird is the fuck yes.
Oh, it's just tapped into this whole thing of just trying to, we've lost the. I think we're starting to lose the ability. Not saying us, but a lot of people forget the fact that we're losing the ability to tell good stories anymore.
Well, because we can't even say words.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You know, when we can't read Huckleberry Finn because there's a character called Nigger Jim.
Dude, To Kill a Mockingbird because it makes people feel uncomfortable when that's the point of the book.
But To Kill a Mockingbird, it's an anti-racist book.
But that's the whole thing is it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's the point of it. And you're sitting there saying, "Oh, we're going to remove this book because it makes you feel uncomfortable." It's like, "Oh, dude, are you like missing the fucking point or something?" I mean, like, dude, really?
Yeah. And the worst part is that they make it so that you can't read it either, because I don't feel comfortable reading it. Fuck you, you can't read it either.
Well, my thing is where we're going right where we're going right now as a civilization. I think a lot of people keep preaching 1984, where now it's we're a Brave New World, and I remember when I had to read Brave New World.
Yes, we're going 1984 Brave World meet Cyberpunk. That's where we are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so if you want to have good books, well, either you buy them or you download them or whatever, and make sure nobody can see them, because you may be in trouble in 5-10 years.
Oh, great. Now you're starting to do Fahrenheit 451, man. Stop. Now you're really going to make me pee my pants.
Dude, it's true.
No, you're right. No, you're right, man. I mean,
see the way these people are making the society go.
Well, look what happened to InfoWars.
Look,
I'm not
exactly.
I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Jones either.
Only thing I ever watch about him is the memes.
I like Paul Joseph Watson.
Yes, but only when he's not with.
No, I watch it. I just basically
Alex
follow
Jones.
his channel. Yeah, I just follow his channel. But I mean, every now and then he'll do something like he'll interview somebody like Count Dankula or Sargon, which Count Dankula is the fucking shit. If anybody out there fucking listening,
and he's going to prison.
No, $800.
No, he's going to prison.
No, he's not.
No, he is.
No, he's not. He had to pay an $800 fine, which
he's not going to pay it.
No, he sent the money to a charity, and he said if the government wants it, they got to go get it.
Seriously. He said so. He's not going to pay it.
No, he did. He sent it. What he did was, this is even more. Like I said, this is even more beautiful. He sent it to a charity and basically said if the government wants it, they have to go get it from the charity.
Exactly. He's not paying it, so he's going to prison.
Well, you know what? Right now,
he has balls of steel. Okay.
Dude, have you seen his concert? You need to see The Reds Are Coming. He did like a kind of a comedy video.
Yes, I know.
Have you seen that one yet?
Yes, I know. You know. We all know these assholes are crazy.
No, the red one was just him being funny, dude. Did you see the Juggalo?
You need to see a video that B did about Count Dankula going to prison.
B did a video about
B Monroe. Do you know who he is? A gypsy? No?
No.
Okay, I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah, send it to me because I mean, I mean, I've been following, Count Dankula, and I haven't seen him really like,
He's
talking.
friends with Dankula, with Joseph Watson, with Sargon, mainly with Sargon.
Man, I think you know what? I think Sargon gets a bad rap, dude. I really do. I like Sargon.
All of them get about rap because it's about making them get about rap.
Well, man, Sargon it suggested the book "Gun, Germs, and Steel" by Jared Diamond. You need to read that book, dude. It like when I it that to me that was when I talk about my history views. That right there puts so much shit into perspective. It's amazing because I mean it's just basically talking about it wasn't racial differences, it was environment, and that's when you think about it, it's the truth. We were talking about history earlier, the Eden myth. Um, the land of plenty and man got expelled, basically. I think that is an allegory for in the start of civilization. Now, the common, and this is where I differ with a lot of historical views, and it's not something I can prove. It's just something that makes sense. And I know that doesn't make sense and it doesn't stand up, but just roll with me for a second. All right. Agriculture is what is considered to be the precursor to civilization.
Yes.
But I think before agriculture, there was a point where we kind of came to a land of plenty, which would be quote unquote Eden, which some people have theorized is the Persian Gulf that was above water before the end of the Ice Age. And I think it was still above water at some point, like 8,000 BC. The Persian Gulf has only been the Persian Gulf for maybe about maybe 8,000 years. Well within you know
The first big, really big civilization we have some record of. It's the Sumerian one.
no, dude, go back. No, go back to tip eight.
No, 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 no. I mean, we have records. Not we know they existed.
Dude, go
Records.
back. No, go back where tip eight existed.
We
That's
don't have writings from
but
them.
but you know why you don't have writings? This is something I do believe that I have a very good grasp on, and I take this from the Egyptians, and it actually goes in. If you look at a lot of the Sumerian writings, especially when you look at the early writings, as opposed to as you get later, where things you start getting a lot more story, a lot more of literary works.
Yeah,
All right, ancient Egypt. Writing was, according to the Egyptians, writing was developed by Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge,
yeah.
who also measured the stars and all that. Actually, Isis was also qualified, said to do that. But all right, well, when Thoth developed writing, he went to Ammon, the god king of Egypt. He said, "Hey, dude, look what I made. I've made a potion for remembering. You can write this down. You don't have to remember it anymore." Going on and on about what he's developed. Ammon's like, "No, man, you messed it." I'm kind of ghettoifying the story, but this is how it goes. He's like, "No, dude, you messed up." Um, People who use this, they're not going to depend on their mind anymore. They're going to depend on written symbols that come from someone else instead of their own heart, their own memory. Um, and also, if someone who finds these writings and misinterprets them, great evil can come. You have not figured a potion for remembering; you figured a potion for forgetfulness. Now, do you know if you look at the three pyramids on the Giza Plateau, there's no writing in them. Now, that is a lie. In the Great Pyramid, there is some writing, but the thing is, there was I believe he was a British archaeologist who was determined to figure out when the pyramids were built. And so they basically said he went in there and forged some Egyptian writing. And then as we later understood how the Egyptian language works, this guy was an idiot. He kind of did bad grammar Egyptian, like, Khufu done built this here, done pyramid. Seriously. And my uncle's been to the Great Pyramid
Here's
twice.
the thing, okay? Here's the thing with Egypt. The pyramids weren't as we see it. They were covered in the oh fuck.
Supposedly they were red, black, and white.
They were covered in cemento, in some kind of plaster.
Yeah. But
Okay.
supposedly there were three different colors. The Great Pyramid was red.
I don't know that, but I know they were covered. So they were really, really flat. So we don't know if there was any writing in the outside.
No, no. Okay, hold on. Let me. But there's a difference. Okay, if you go look at the step pyramid of Saqqara, which at this point it's so old, and that's the crazy thing about Egyptian construction. The great stuff was done in the early dynasties. The pyramids were second or third dynasty,
Yeah.
where you have the step pyramid of Saqqara, which was sixth dynasty. It looks like a fucking wedding cake left out in the rain now. But you walk in there and it's like a fucking underpass in LA. So much writing. There is no writing in the three pyramids of the Giza Plateau, and that's because the Egyptians at that time abided by that story. That writing was not necessarily bad, but it had a purpose. Just as, like I said, with the Sumerians, like a lot of the early Sumerian texts are very technical. You know, we learn from their about their civilization just because they're just basically records.
Yes.
Like birth certificates and whatnot. But then
Yes.
you come
That's
later.
what I meant when I said records. We don't have records of Göbekli Tepe. We know they existed, but because we have the buildings,
But I
but
think
we
that
don't
I
have
think,
any writings from them.
but it's the same thing. Okay, have you ever? Let's see. Again, I think that especially, yeah, I mean, and you can see this even with Hinduism, and I'll talk about because I think a lot of people sleep on India and even Asia as maybe being, you know, maybe closer to civilization than even the Levant, because the environment at that time was good. Because there's a place in
Oh fuck!
Indonesia. It's called Padang Padang. I'm no, I'm probably mispronouncing it, but what it was is
I'm going to have to mute my mic because my dog is greeting my wife.
oh, it's okay. I'm surprised my cat shut up this long. Where's my little fuzzy? Oh, there you are. But all right, Padang Padang. It's in, I believe, Indonesia. Originally it was thought to be like some sort of ceremonial temple on the top of a mound. What ended up happening is they found out that it's the top of a pyramid. Now there's been a lot of talk about dating it a lot further, but there's some people are putting it around like Gobekli Tepe, which would be about 9,000, 10,000 BC. The pyramids were 2,500 BC, and I don't really question that. I think there's enough evidence, that they were put to star alignments that, kind of, it just lines up. I just think the pyramids were the Egyptians saying, "Hey, man, we they built." A lot of people talk about pi and all these different numbers built into it, and I think that was the purpose. It's one day because the Egyptian priests did trip balls. All right, it's another thing about our ancestors. Psychedelics was a big factor in their belief systems, and if you can kind of like factor out kind of the psychedelic stuff, which, yeah, if you do psychedelics, you kind of see it. You kind of see a logic to everything. But yeah, I think the Egyptians at one point they were tripping balls one day, and they said, "Man, look, man, people may not be able to understand, what we're talking about." And the other guy went, "Yeah, that's why we're going to build something, and we're going to build it in number. Because if you want people to understand what you're going to say in future generations, yeah, they're not going to understand your writing. We're even taking that into account now and wondering how we can transmit data or information to something where future generations that may not be able to read our language would understand." We even built the fucking Hoover Dam to star alignments.
Yeah.
So That's what I think the Egyptians did. They said we're going to speak in stone and number. I don't. I sit the line. To me, they always say the truth is in the middle, and we put this kind of crazy, oh, our ancestors had high technology, but you have to think about what our ancestors would have thought high technology. You know, would they have thought like laser guns and shit? No. Our ancestors for high technology, if a civilization, especially in the time we're talking, if a civilization can build a megalithic architecture, then yeah.
Well, you have to look at that, for instance. Okay, when many of these assholes that go there talking about the aliens coming and building the pyramids and shit. Okay, notice they never say aliens built the European cathedrals. It's always in places where it's not in Europe. Okay, in Europe they went and built Stone Age, and the aliens went away and went to Egypt because they had to teach the Egyptians.
Well, if you're talking
What
about,
I think is these people, part of the reason some of them believe this is because they are thinking that there's no way these people could have built this stuff. Now, they also say a lot of lies. Mainly the people that write the books. The people that write the books are assholes, don't believe what they are preaching, and are only exploiting people. So they tell you there's no way they could have built Stone Age because blah blah blah. Bullshit. There is a way, and there's traces about how they did it in the place.
well, if there's a wooden hinge,
Exactly.
and it's their poles that they found on the ground around Stonehenge, and the woods.
And the holes in the ground.
Yeah, and they go to star alignments. That's the man. When I talk about civilization being older, they track this stuff. Like when you were talking about the floods. Hold up, well, fuck, I'll look for it later. We'll talk about it. I'll find it when we did the history. But it's basically
No problem.
and I'll read you the passage. But one of the things the Egyptians say, and I can almost quote this to a T, is you think there's only been one deluge, a flood. There have been many. And from what
Yes.
I've read, in a really good book on this is, and this is what Graham Hancock, man, again, he's my favorite nonfiction writer, but they've had him on Ancient Aliens. And I hate that because they misrepresent him. Because he's always been shit's just older. That's it. And I mean, that to me, when it said, well, it can only be aliens. Well, okay, but again, we're looking at, when you're looking at the timeline of history, you're looking at what scholars have established as history, which is wrong. Again, Gobekli Tepe blows that shit out the fucking water.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's 9,000.
The beautiful thing about science, about true science, it's that it's a system made to correct itself.
Yeah.
It's a system made to say, okay, we think this is true because we have these facts.
Well,
and tomorrow you get some facts that say you were wrong. Okay, you were wrong.
See, and this is the thing I hate to say, and this is going to sound bad, but it is true to an extent. Is that how there is kind of like this, white people did it thing to history? Because they talk about it's funny. I've read in many places that this Aryan invasion, it's false. It doesn't
Okay, of course, it's false.
But people say, but that's the thing is you got to realize, man, when you look at the far left and the far right, they both hold on to this, and it's fucking fake. It destroys both their arguments. Because what it comes down to, I mean, the whole Aryan thing was basically the Indians, the dot on the forehead, like you said, what was it, the dot on the forehead, not the name, like with their religion. they couldn't have come up with Hinduism on their own because they're brown people, and obviously brown people can't,
Exactly.
do this. Now, like I said, coming back to the Indians, do you realize that the Hinduism is thousands of years old?
Yes.
It hasn't been written down in its like 2-3 thousand year history, which is that's being very conservative. It wasn't written down until the last 1,000 years.
Yes.
And there was a British archaeologist, or I guess an explorer, that what he was amazed about the Vedas was no matter where he was in India, they were said the same way. There wasn't one deviation in even a syllable.
Because they were sacred texts, even if they
Exactly, but
weren't written.
remember, but again, like I said, I think there's the whole thing about the story of Toth and writing is a pervasive thing.
There's a long tradition in Africa of the storyteller, the people that know the history of the town, of the tribe, and they start learning the stories from childhood. So when they get to be 20, 30 and take over for their master, they have been listening the same story thousands of times.
See,
And they keep telling the story, and so they keep hearing it and remember it. So the
but there,
story keeps being remembered. Okay,
but,
the thing is, you can't transmit history like that. You can't transmit certain kind of knowledge like that, because there is going to be a small deviation.
no, I think they can. You can, and it goes back to what I said about the pyramids number.
No, 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 no. Oh, okay, yeah, numbers,
The
but it's
stories
not.
don't matter because there was somebody, I forget what his name is, but he started looking at the numbers within the Bible, and they started fitting into and I mean that's the thing is I'm telling you, man, our ancestors weren't stupid. The way they're speaking to us is a number. Yes, they weren't as technologically advanced as we were, but they knew their shit, and you know
Okay,
that's
yes, they knew some shit, and they knew some shit that we had to rediscover centuries later.
well, that's one of the things about the deluge. They again, one flood,
Not
there have
only
been many.
because of that, but because we are stupid too.
Well, no, no, you didn't let me finish the last part of it. I left the last part. It says there's been even though you think there's one deluge, there've been many, and you've had to begin again like children, ignorant of what has come before. I
Yes, but
remember the end of it. Like it's very poetic. I mean,
yeah, but even when they had the stuff, the knowledge, even then, many times they went back. They, how do I say it? Forgot on purpose.
well, no, it just goes back. It goes. You get comfortable, and then you get soft, and then
No,
something goes.
because your religion makes you.
Well, no, that's just the human condition. Like,
Yes.
okay, if there's
For
no
instance,
my
with
no, hold up. I've
the,
got my one
the
wise saying. Let
zero,
me
the
no,
zero in Europe, they
trust me.
didn't wanted the zero, because the zero was from the devil, because it couldn't be nothing, because God. The same with negative numbers.
Human nature. No, this is, I'm telling you, it's human nature, man.
Yeah,
It gets no. Let me explain. I have a degree in electronics. I'm not using it, but I have it. But this is my one claim to fame. This is my own saying. It's going to be on my fucking gravestone. I swear to this. Human beings are like electricity. They are always going to take the path of least resistance.
of course.
And that's the problem. Now, there are people who are going to, struggle and try to do something great. But that's always been my issue with socialism and communism. They celebrate human laziness. Capitalism may not be the best system in the world, and it
It's the
does.
best we have.
Well, it harnesses our worst tendencies to make something good.
Yeah.
And that sounds hard, but that's the fucking truth. Because letting people be lazy, it's not gonna. I mean, look at the leaps in technology. During Cold War era Russia versus America. See, in Cold War era Russia, what was your motivation to be great? In America, what was your motivation to be great?
Yeah.
Probably pussy and steaks. When in Russia, you might get a house that doesn't suck.
You don't get sent to the gulag.
Well, that's what
That's your
actually,
motivation.
actually, Russia would have led the jet revolution if Stalin hadn't been such a paranoid asshole and kept putting
Yes.
people with the best minds on in like jet technology in the gulag.
Yeah.
Like he,
As a matter of fact, they had for a short while they had the best jets in one war. Which one was it? In Korea?
yeah, and that was the guy that Stalin kept putting in the gulag. Like he basically he pulls the guy out. He has the guy making jets. He gets paranoid, throws him in the gulag. He's there for a couple of years. Pulls him out of the gulag to do more jets. He makes a couple. He's on the advance. He's on the cusp of making some amazing advances, and then Stalin throws him back in the gulag, and he dies there. I mean, that's
Yeah,
true. But it's like there's this guy there's this guy, this communist I talked to, and he's cool.
but
I,
but
you
but
know,
but,
I,
but here's the
I
thing. Okay,
know,
here's the thing.
but at
Even
least he doesn't speak word salad. And the guy, and we can have a civil discussion.
okay.
As long as I can have a civil discussion with somebody, man, I'll always break bread with a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
will.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Same here.
but we were talking about that, but it's like Tetris. Why communism doesn't work? Tetris. Have you ever heard the story of the guy who made Tetris? Now think about Tetris, man. It was included with every fucking Game Boy.
Yeah,
He didn't make any money after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and
but
he didn't make that much.
he still has the rights or his family. No.
Nope, he doesn't have the
Yes,
rights.
you
No,
can't make Tetris.
it's no,
There's
it's because Nintendo bought the rights. That shit still holds, man. It's
I don't know.
crazy.
Someone has the rights.
Nintendo. And actually, it started off with Atari's Japanese imprint Tigen. They only made 500,000 cartridges before Nintendo came out, bought the rights
Look,
from under them.
socialism doesn't work because it's central planning.
No, and power corrupts. That's the whole thing. It's like,
Exactly. It's central planning, it's corruption, and it doesn't take into account human nature. Socialism and by extension, communism assume humans are good, trapped in a bad system. That's not true. Humans are humans, and they are going to be humans. Doesn't matter the system.
we have we're we are basically bad by default. It's the We have potential to do good.
Yes.
That's the way. I mean, it's
Yes. 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 Yes.
no, but what you said was what you just said would, man, preach on, brother Geeky Bugle, man. You were exactly, and that's the thing I've been trying to illustrate. It's like this is taking human nature out of it.
Yes.
You're not seeing human like when being in the
It's the
club.
same. It's the same problem I have with many of my fellow libertarians. The same problem. They don't take human nature into account. Or if the non-aggression principle. Okay, yes, there's people that are overly greedy, that want stuff that they didn't work for. How the fuck are you going to prevent them from taking yours? Oh, but you can't. You need some form of state.
Well, this is what I realized today, and I can't realize it just after all this time. I can't realize it hit me just now. at this point. But it's like, okay, all this resistance, and this is from both sides of the aisle. It's take down the 1%. It's like both sides are willing to tear everything down just to take down the 1%. When what you want to do is going to be bad for everybody just to take down the 1%, which, they're not, the 1% isn't, you have your powerful families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, whatever, you know what I'm saying? What have you. But if you really look at the 1%, it's very liquid. It's not the same people. It moves, it shifts. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
exactly. Yes. Yes.
And
Around 20%, 20, 80. I don't remember now the number. I don't remember if it was 20 or 80%, but I think it's 20%. If you were born in a rich family, 20% of the people that is born into a rich family end up poor.
yeah, because I have some experience with that. You just it goes back to the the hard times create good times, but there's a meme that's been going out. It's like hard times create good times create soft people create hard times. It's a cycle.
Yes.
And I mean, there is truth to that. I mean, the Egyptians, one of the main things the Egyptians said, I think, stands for everything. It's the most important principle, and people actually apply some mystical, like it's some metaphysical great revelation where if you just sit down and look at it, it's kind of very practical and normal, and that's what they meant was as above, so below. And it's basically as in nature is as in yourself.
Yes.
And they understood that balance, and we attribute some sort of mystical something where I think there's a guy, he's not, I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but this is the one thing I think he fucking hit the nail on the head. He said that his name's John Anthony West, and he's really a big proponent of, he's not really an ancient aliens guy. They had him a lot on there, but he's more of a civilization's older dude. But I don't agree with a lot of what he said. He's got a guy named Robert Schoch that rolls with him, and Robert Schoch is fucking awesome. And I do. That guy's dead on a lot of his shit. But one of the things John Anthony West said was the Egyptian gods weren't really gods per se. They were aspects of nature. To understand that God was to understand that aspect of nature. And then to take the Egyptian pantheon as a whole was their whole understanding of nature. So if you look at what people consider religion as being, which is trying to get closer to the nature of God, and then you take God, especially within looking at the Egyptians, and then you take God as in looking at aspects of nature, their religion in a lot of respects was science.
But I would need to think it a little bit because it doesn't jive too good with my.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. But I mean, it's once again, it's too their understanding.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying I need to chew.
Well, no, I'm not saying. Look, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, it's because a lot of it comes to perspective. When I talk about Atlantis, when a lot of people say Atlantis, you say that and they think like spaceships and laser guns and whatnot. Where if you think about it, first it was talked about by our ancestors, and they were taught a civilization of high technology, which wasn't the term they were using, but that's kind of a good approximation of it. They didn't understand high technology like we did. So what were they thinking? Could have been people that built in megalithic architecture.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I believe is, when I was talking about John Anthony West, I mentioned Robert Schoch. Robert Schoch came to prominence because he's the guy who's been questioning the age of the Sphinx. Because one thing about the Egyptians, man, is they built the scale perfectly. They did. They were amazing at it. Like, again, the Egyptians mathematically were stunning. Okay, if you look at the Sphinx from a profile, from the side, this giant lion-ass body, but this little itty bitty human head. Okay. Now, what Anthony West has said that first off is the weathering patterns around the Sphinx are not wind and sand; they are rain. What's the problem with that? Well, if you look at Egypt now, rain, really, motherfucker, that don't happen. Well, that when did it happen? Around 10,000 BC. Egypt was kind of a jungle; it was tropical, and it would have had the weather would have been good for that type of erosion. And I mean, you can see it, man. It's not any, you don't have to be a geologist. If you look at most of the Giza Plateau, it's got this like the weathering, the erosion on it's really rough from wind and sand. But if you look at the Sphinx and the Sphinx enclosure, it's rounded. That's water.
Well,
One of the,
here's the thing, okay? In the ancient times, lot of the time, a king would take something he didn't do and have people remake it in his image to aggrandize himself.
what was okay? But you see, constellations, which the stars were a big influence on our ancestors. You look at the zodiac. There's the age like right now we're in the age of Aquarius. That was the whole 2012 thing.
Yeah.
The 10,000 the year 10,000 BC was? It was the age of Leo. A lot of people postulate that Sphinx was originally what its body was. It was a lion. It was a cat. And then and this is what I think. I think that at that point the Egyptian plateau was settled. You didn't have the pyramids, but there are certain things in Egypt like the Osirion, the Sphinx itself, and the Sphinx enclosure. Because there's there's the Sphinx temple in front of it. You know what the Sphinx temple was built out of? The blocks that they used to cut the Sphinx out of. Think about that, man. That's pretty fucking amazing. That the enclosure that the Sphinx was in, the blocks that built the Sphinx temple came from them building that enclosure.
Yeah.
They were cutting the blocks out of that and putting it down. Because there's a lot of things in Egypt that they don't jive, like it doesn't jive well with the architecture of later dynasties. When you get into like I said, I have no question that the pyramids were built when they said, because there are certain attributes of especially like the Great Pyramid that match stars. Now, was this a plan? I don't know. Maybe because I think the Egyptians were very far-reaching in their thinking, and I think that at one point that area was settled, and there were some signs of life. They've done some megalithic architecture. One of these said floods hit, and they got pushed away, and then when everything settled, they came back.
Yeah,
I mean,
makes sense.
And I mean, face it. If you look at the farming in Egypt, you have to know your shit already, because your entire fucking crop and feeding your people depends on being able to understand the flooding of the Nile,
Yeah,
the silting of that takes a lot of skill. It's the one thing. There's a lot of really crazy stuff that floats around about
they had great math, man. They had great math and great astronomy for their time without.
Well, I think this was the same.
Without the technology we have, they had. Come on.
Well, I think a lot of the people that settled Egypt, they came from the area. They came from the Levant. They came from Göbekli Tepe, of that area.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
Göbekli Tepe, man. It's you got to realize that was 6,000 years before the pyramids, and yeah, it's not pyramids. It's not to the skill that the Egyptians built, unless again, I'll always refer to like when you talk about old. To me, what features of Egypt that are older than the pyramids, it would be the Osirion and the Sphinx temple and the Sphinx itself.
Yeah.
And see, the Sphinx, I think it was just convenient. It looked nice, it kind of looked like a lion. And a couple people were bored one day. It's like, hey, let's just go start making that. I mean, that's pretty much what a lot of art, comes from. It's just people being fucking bored. Because when you talk about agriculture, the reason agriculture predates civilization because when people don't have to look for food, they get bored and they do weird shit.
Yes, yes, that's true. Look, man, it's been a great pleasure. And by the way, I'm Eduardo.
Eduardo, Jason,
Yeah,
man, or a
Jason.
robot,
Pleasure.
jackass, don't give a fuck, whatever.
Yeah, me
Eduardo,
too.
man, so dude, next week
So,
RPG.
okay, and when do we do the history in your channel?
Whenever, like I said, man, I'll I'm back
You
getting
tell
ready.
me. You tell
What's
me.
you want to do that on Mondays?
Yeah, I can.
Cool, because I'm off Mondays and Tuesdays, and I don't know how late your schedule is, unless you want to do it later during the week. Because usually get home about 9:30.
No problem. No problem. Monday is fine.
Cool, but I'm off Monday, so we can do that one like seven o'clock Monday, and then Tuesday we do the RPG.
Very well.
Man, Eduardo, man, seriously,
It's it.
dude, this was a goddamn pleasure, man. No joke, man.
All mine. The pleasure was all mine.
No, no, man. It was not kidding, man. When I talk history with people, it's because my shit's so weird.
Look, you won't be surprised when you find some of the stuff you're talking in my RPGs, right?
That's cool. Like I said, man, I want to do I'm so wanting to do the Dark Age Cthulhu because I have an idea. I have an idea for my own story from it, which now I'll just leave it with this. But it's Albigensian Crusade, and what it was is the Cathars
Yeah,
that they practiced, the weird kind of Christianity, and the Templars were involved, and they basically called them heretics, went in and fucking did awful things. And
yeah,
that's where you get your holy blood, holy grail. They were escaping with the scrolls that showed that Christ had a child and all that shit. I think that's a very interesting setting for something,
yeah,
But man, we'll talk. I know you got to go, so man, it was a
yeah.
pleasure.
Sorry.
No, dude, no. Seriously, man, you take care. All right.
Okay, you too, and everybody listening or that's going to listen later. This was Jason and me talking. Well, trying to talk RPGs, and we ended talking about everything and nothing at the same time. But now we are telling you that you kids get out of our graph paper. Okay? Leave our graph paper alone. See
Because
you
there's
soon.
nothing wrong with it in the first place.
Yes, exactly.
Because
There was nothing
we
to
love
fix there.
everybody. Can
Yeah,
you game? You throw your dice and not be a dumbass. After
exactly.
that, after that,
Exactly.
okay. Your politics, how you feel inside, and where you put your genitals. We don't give three fucks. Can you game?
Not a
Brothers and
single
sisters.
one. Yes, exactly.
And that's always been the issue, man. And that's the biggest thing. And that was one of the things we were going to talk about.
The,
But
the 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 cousin that got me to play RPGs, he's gay.
and
Okay.
like I said, it's such a strange dichotomy because mine was a
And I knew he was gay before he knew he was gay because he was too little.
man.
Okay. I knew he was gay.
We're gonna have some awesome talk and conversations coming up.
Yeah.
We are, dude. No
Yeah. Yeah.
joke.
We have to talk about the games I am making and how.
And honestly, this would be a better platform because, man, I'm like I said, man, I don't like typing. I'm horrible at that, and this would be good because you can actually tell me, you explain yourself very well, which is beautiful. So I would be able to visualize what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm more of a somebody tell me something because if I read something for some reason, unless it's like a really good book, I kind of go full retard, even though I know I'm not supposed to. I start drooling. My cat
I
has
don't think so.
my cat has to bring me a napkin to wipe
I
myself
don't
off.
believe so, but okay. No problem, man. No problem. We can talk about that.
All right,
We
Warner,
can
get
do
out of
it.
here, man.
Yeah, you too.
You
Have a
take
good
care,
night.
brother.
And remember, don't go gently into the good night.
No, and long days and pleasant nights, my gunslinger.
Yes. Yes.
Take care, brother.
Okay, you too.
Thanks.
Goodbye.